Chapter 539. Everyone looked at Jose, who was standing in front of the spotlight, looking like a gentle old scholar. Is that so? This is a private matter of the Research Institute. However, it is true that she is loyal to Marcus. His words were tactful, but it also told everyone that the report in the morning was not wrong. She was going to leave the Institute of Computational Technology. At this moment, someone in the Computing Institute could not sit still anymore. Where did this old trash come from? How dare he purge my student? Is he tired of living? Nancy's expression turned ugly. Looking at Jose's proud face in front of the spotlight, she was so angry that smoke was coming out of her head. At this moment, Zhong Shenglin did not correct Nancy. Control yourself. I called Gutter just now. She told me not to interfere. She is going to be despised by everyone. Why are you not interfering? Nancy's eyes widened. Don't be anxious. You can tell everyone that she is your student. This can indeed solve the crisis for a while. But at that time, he will be watched by even more pairs of eyes. Zhong Shenglin glanced at him. Besides, don't you know that she is from your family? If others knew that Nancy had chosen a successor, Bei Yunj would live in fear for the rest of her life. After all, those people from the Higgins family would do anything in order to fight for the successor. Then what can we do? This is the last resort. Let's wait first. Zhong Shenglin clenched his fists. His palms were sweaty. Anyway, no matter what, the successor of the Computing Institute would be Bei Yunj. Even if that old thing was suspended from the Institute of Computational Technology, he could still come to his Computing Institute. Anyway, they would quarrel even if they did not meet. In the bedroom, Bei Yunj scanned the manuscript that she had been working on all day. 2:58. Her eyes darkened. At that moment, she clicked the mouse and sent the email. A few days later, this matter was getting bigger and bigger. Even Zhong Shenglin could not sit still. But when he walked out of the door angrily to look for Nancy, he saw Bei Yunj squatting in the courtyard, watering the flowers. Zhong Shenglin. It was true that Bei Yunj had a good mentality. If it were anyone else, they would be pouring water on their own heads instead of the flower's head. He walked closer to Bei Yunj and asked gently, Are you all right? That's good. The matter should be settled soon. Bei Yunj narrowed her beautiful eyes and glanced at the sun in the sky. Is it going to be resolved? Zhong Shenglin suspected that Bei Yunj was talking in his sleep. Yes. After Bei Yunj finished watering one basin, she switched to another one. Most likely, he was talking in his sleep. Yunj, why don't you just make a statement and say that you came to the Computing Institute? This way, people won't keep slandering you. If I do, those people will say it too, and they'll even bring you along. Bei Yunj glanced at Zhong Shenglin and chuckled. Let's wait a little longer. Hearing the main character say this, Zhong Shenglin could not do anything no matter how anxious he was. The next day, the notice of delisting from the Institute of Computational Technology in our nation was officially released, causing the outside world to discuss fervently. Hong Chongjin seemed to have fulfilled his last wish in life. He was happy and smug. Now that Marcus was done for, Zhong Shenglin would also be implicated. After all, Marcus and Zhong Shenglin were so close. Chapter 540. However, in the afternoon, a group of people on the internet had just started to follow the trend and criticize. All of a sudden, something strange began to happen. Farisk Mathematics Award. Congratulations to the following scholars for being nominated for this year's Farisk Mathematics Award. 1. Cesar Frank, Our Nation. 2. Sammy Khan, Our Nation. 3. Tenya Yabuno, J Nation. 4. A Nation. The above rankings are listed in order of nomination. Thank you for your attention throughout the year. The news was only posted on the official website. Initially, no one paid attention to it because there were not many mathematicians in a nation. However, when it spread to the internet, the news started to blow up. This was not because of the nomination of a person from a nation, but because on the same day, the official website released an announcement. 3 of the 8,000 questions had been successfully solved. And this year, 2 of them were solved by the same person. This made everyone in disbelief. They did not know where this god came from to do such a crazy thing. Solving 2 of the 8,000 questions at once. This was something that they would not even dare to dream about before today. However, when everyone saw the signature of the person who solved the 8,000 questions, their bodies froze. On the title of the official website, the signature was in bold. So, the discussion on the internet was in full swing. Everyone was criticizing the new director of our nation's Institute of Computational Technology, Jones. They blamed Jones for going overboard and removing him from the institute. This was the person who solved the 8,000 questions, and he solved more than one question. And he was chased back to a nation? What kind of idiot could do such a thing? Hence, an hour later, under the anger of the public, a large number of online protests began, demanding the replacement of the new director, Jones. Everyone in the upper echelons knew about this matter. 80-90. As for the masses from other countries, many of them were watching the show as well. After all, this was not the first time our nation liked to poach researchers from other countries. Who would have thought that this time, a real god would come, and in the end, he would be personally chased out by his subordinates? This was enough to make our nation's enemies laugh for an entire year. At the same time, there was also a heated discussion on the internet in a nation. The entries about hashtag, the 8,000 questions hashtag, and the nomination for the Farisk Prize hashtag were all firmly at the top of the list. There was even a dark red word next to it. The reversal in the morning and afternoon was also very suffocating. Many people tagged Hong Chongjin under this post. At Hong Chongjin, can you explain? Can you answer 1,008 questions? Confused, a plaything of capital? Are you sure? At Hong Chongjin. Come out and take a beating at Hong Chongjin. At this moment, Hong Chongjin, who had received so many private messages, was very puzzled at first. However, when he saw these entries, he understood. His expression changed, and he immediately clicked to read the content. A few minutes later, he unconsciously took a few steps back. His legs were weak, and his entire body was trembling. Impossible? How is this possible? How could there be someone who could solve the question? Why did this person have to be? At this moment, Hong Chongjin felt that his qi and blood were not flowing smoothly. He blacked out and collapsed. The other students in the same research room were shocked, and they quickly sent him to the hospital. At this moment, discussions were still going on online. They're all humans, so why are they so smart? My scalp is numb. Seriously? How many years has it been since our country had a mathematician? Chapter 541. My computer science professor at Neely University is already cursing in front of the entire class. There's a shortage of people in the computer science field. Jose is forcing people into the field of mathematics. F***C. Why do I feel like a demon king is going to appear in the scientific research field? I'm tired of saying this. Now I just want to say, awesome. Sob, sob, sob. Come back quickly. Well, thank you, people of our nation, for sending back. We're very satisfied, doghead. Daddy, bring our country's scientific research forward. However, what was even more unpredictable was about an hour later. There was also a movement on the official website of the K.Z. Busaka Computer Award. K.Z. Busaka Computer Award. Congratulations to the first K.Z. Busaka Award candidate. Thank you for your contribution to the field of computing. At the same time, thank you for your support for the annual Busaka Award. After this message, there was a translation in country A's language, as if they were afraid that they would not understand their intentions. And immediately after, when this news spread to the intranet, it almost paralyzed the headlines. Busaka almost made "Love Me Again" on the public screen this year. Ha ha ha. Busaka is no longer the noble and cold Busaka Award. Do you know that your award ceremony only ended half a month ago? It'll be at least 8 to 9 months before your next candidate list is announced, right? He's anxious, he's anxious, he's anxious. After all, his opponent is Farisk. He's starting to be afraid. F***ck, there are so many strange things this year. When did Busaka become an official announcement for each candidate? Doghead, I'm going crazy. Haha, is this the year of country A in the scientific research world? I'm happy. In the end, Love House. The Busaka Award was held by country R, but the Our Nation R's scientific research and political circles were distinct and had always been in a state of irrelevance. Therefore, they did not want to dislike the Our Nation R's scientific research and computing field because of Jose, who was appointed by the higher-ups. Moreover, the Our Nation R's scientific research community had always hated the involvement of the higher-ups in such matters. Therefore, this time, Jose's public outburst had also hit the Our Nation R's scientific research community. In the scientific research community, no matter how many dirty tricks there were, strength was still the absolute king. At this moment, Jose was stunned. Busaka and Farizik, to be nominated for 2 international awards in 1 year, this was an achievement that most people would never be able to achieve in their lifetime. How is this possible? How is this possible? Jose held his head with both hands, his face contorted in pain. He knew it was all over. If the higher-ups knew about this, they would definitely drag him down. It wasn't just to appease the masses, it was also to appease them. After all, no one would provoke a top researcher. But in the past 3 years, he had prepared so much just to replace Marcus. And the result? In the end, he had only been the new director for less than a month. At this moment, Marcus was still playing games. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was yawning and not shaving. He did not believe that Bae Yunj could really bring him back. He just felt that it was good that Bae Yunj had the intention to do so. But in the next moment, Marcus received a phone call. Is it Marcus? The other party's voice was too gentle, making Marcus frown. What? Chapter 542. Oh. Just as Marcus was about to hang up the phone, he suddenly reacted and sobered up. What did you say? I've been reinstated and promoted again? Yes, you really have good taste. There's also this trump card. Marcus instinctively asked, Are you still asleep? What a joke. Even his friends could not help him with this matter. Gamer had just entered the scientific research field. What could she do? The other party probably did not expect Marcus to say this. Then he put on a fake smile. You probably didn't see the news. She was just nominated for the Farisk Prize because of the 8,000 questions. 8,000 questions? Although Marcus was in the computing field, he still had a deep impression of the 8,000 questions in the mathematics world. After so many years, only one mathematician had solved one. Yes, she solved 2 questions. Currently, the professors of the mathematics department at Neely University are studying these 2 questions. Marcus? Was he really not hallucinating? She solved the 8,000 questions? When he regained his senses, Marcus could not help but gasp. So this was the method Bae Yunj had mentioned. Jones and the others had plotted, saying that he had created a genius persona for his members, that there was vicious competition in the academic circle, and that it was morally corrupt. In the end, this person had simply played a big game and made this persona a reality. Other than Zhong Shunglin, there were also 2 people from the Computing Institute who could not recover at once. The 2 of them were in a daze and could not believe it. Did I hear wrongly? It's the 8,000 questions? Nance's hands were trembling. He had originally thought that this young lady was quite talented in computing, but in the end, she had solved 2 of the 8,000 questions at once. I found out when I was chatting with the professor next door. Professor Do from the department next door gave the 8,000 questions Bae Yunj. Si Chingyen took a deep breath and subconsciously pursed his lips. The mathematics department was still in a heated discussion. He also knows that Bae Yunj is? Zhong Shunglin immediately asked. Si Chingyen shook his head. No, I heard him mention it casually. He thinks Bae Yunj is a talented girl, so he wants to suppress Bae Yunj's arrogance with these questions. But this was the result. What Professor Do did not expect was that the super genius he was talking about was Bae Yunj, the person he wanted to suppress. You must keep your mouth shut. Don't let anyone else know. At this moment, Zhong Shunglin felt his scalp tingle. Now, he already had Marcus and Stephen, and now there was Nancy. He didn't want anyone else to come and snatch the successor from him. Even if others don't know, there are many people in the industry who want to poach him. Si Qingyan's eyelids twitched. You guys probably don't know. Yesterday, Hong Chongjin found out that he solved 1,000 questions and fainted from anger. He's already lying in the hospital. The innate talent of some people was indeed too terrifying. They already thought that Bei Yunji's talent was monstrous enough. But who would have thought that today's situation would occur? He was going crazy. Nancy, Zhong Shenglin, that's right. Those with poor tolerance would easily take things too hard. In the afternoon, all the computing institutes were informed to have a meeting, including the Computing Institute. As soon as Marcus returned, he was called by Neely University, who repeatedly asked for a portrait. They even asked if he had any intention of becoming an honorary professor of Neely University. This made it difficult for Marcus to answer. Chapter 543. Although Bei Yunji did not explain these things with Bei Yunji's character, she would not agree to it either. Marcus turned a blind eye and sent Bei Yunji's email to the people from Neely University. In the following period of time, this name was discussed for a long time, but no one was as hateful as before. After that, another piece of news about Qin Youjiao broke out and quickly became a trending topic. Hashtag Qin Youjiao, International Musicians Association hashtag soon. Because Qin Youjiao was not even 20 years old, she entered the International Musicians Association and became popular on the internet again. However, this time, Qin Youjiao's popularity even had fans outside the internet. In the afternoon, Bei Yunji was on her way to the Computing Institute. What are you thinking? You actually let Qin Youjiao enter the International Musicians Association. Yu Manran was about to crack. She thought that with Bei Yunji's temper, she would not let Qin Youjiao enter the International Musicians Association. What's wrong? Bei Yunji asked carelessly as she glanced at the scenery outside the window. Today, Qin Youjiao's marketing is more than an artiste like me. She can't wait to let the world know that she's a young genius pianist. When Yu Manran said the last term, he chuckled. Marketing what? Bei Yunji raised an eyebrow. The International Musicians Association. Entering the International Musicians Association is a qualitative leap in status. Yu Manran really wanted to tell everyone that her go was much more outstanding than that young genius pianist. If it wasn't for Wyan, how could she, Qin Youjiao, have the chance to go to the International Musicians Association? What's there to market? Bei Yunji snorted, her fingers still on the keyboard as she said carelessly with lowered eyes, I went to apply for a spot for you. You can also study in the International Musicians Association. When you pass the exam, you can stay in the International Musicians Association. With that said, the other party seemed to be silent for a long time. Then an excited scream sounded, almost making Bei Yunji's hands tremble, and she deleted the document. Bei Yunji was speechless. Really? Sob. You're too good to me. Then can I hang up first? Bei Yunji asked slowly. Yu Manran refused. Bei Yunji raised her eyebrows. Why do you have so much to say? Do you want to chat with me? It's really important this time. Did Master Du say anything about bringing you out tonight? With that said, Bei Yunji asked, what's wrong? Master Du will be attending a banquet today, and he requested to bring a female companion. If he didn't tell you, you have to keep a close eye on him. Yu Manran was like an old mother, constantly reminding Bei Yunji. Bei Yunji asked, where did you get the news from? As for my brother, there are already a lot of people asking around if Master Du brought a female companion. I think many people want to stuff their daughters and sisters in. Yu Manran was used to it, but he still hoped that Bei Yunji would show her power as the main wife. However, after hearing this, the other party was silent for a while. Yes, is there anything else? Yu Manran was speechless. After going to the Computing Institute, a few official members of the institute stared at her without blinking. Bei Yunji was silent for a moment. What's the matter? Si Qingyan couldn't help but be curious. He touched Bei Yunji's head again. This hair volume is real too. Is her brain real too? Was there really someone who could use their brain to this extent? In the past, he had seen such geniuses in movies, But now, he had seen it with his own eyes. Chapter 544. Bei Yunj slapped Si Qingyan's hand away. Her beautiful face was expressionless. Si Qingyan was speechless. Oh no, he had gone too far. Fortunately. Then, Zhong Shenglin walked in and sighed. I went to a meeting in Lin City. When everyone heard this, their gazes landed on Zhong Shenglin. One had to know that when all the directors were gathered for a meeting, there would be an especially important task. Did you say anything? Si Qingyan was the first to ask curiously. I only said a little during the meeting. Zhong Shenglin's gaze landed on Bei Yunj. I found it. Bei Yunj was speechless. Everyone was speechless. That's right. To anyone now, Bei Yunj was in high demand. Even the higher-ups were starting to take it seriously. And they said that the country will do its best to support the team you're in from now on. Zhong Shenglin also had mixed feelings. However, for the higher-ups to make such an arrangement, it could be seen how much they valued a talent like Bei Yunj. Now that Country R's Institute of Computational Technology was willing to take the initiative to return it intact, the higher-ups were probably overjoyed. Master Pei is really good. He single-handedly sent Marcus to the top and even got the country to back him up. Si Qingyan sighed. Oh right, your contract with Country R's Computing Institute. Zhong Shenglin asked. It's already over. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, the slightly plump director beside her looked at Bei Yunj with shining eyes. Zhong Shenglin also laughed. Then next, Bei Yunj smiled. Next, I want to work with your institute. At this moment, Zhong Shenglin felt like a daughter-in-law who had finally become a mother-in-law. He instantly stood up excitedly. On my side, I'll revise the contract again. I guarantee that you'll benefit the most. After Zhong Shenglin finished speaking, the director beside him looked at Zhong Shenglin in disbelief. He had started drafting the contract 2 months ago. Bei Yunj's treatment was unprecedented. He still wanted to fix Bei Yunj's car. I'll listen to you. Bei Yunj did not have any objections to this. However, while I'm on the job, I hope that I can choose my team freely, whether it's internal or external. No problem. Zhong Shenglin answered with a smile. Si Qingyan clicked his tongue. Even if you want the stars, our old Zhong will never pluck the moon for you. Rest assured. Zhong Shenglin, who had finally made it through, called Marcus, who had been very busy recently. Marcus, Gunther has agreed to join us. Zhong Shenglin sighed. He felt that the last thing he needed in this world was face. The next moment, Marcus hung up the phone. It was not until Zhong Shenglin called again and again that Marcus completely exploded. Are you done yet? Come on, didn't you already know that Go wouldn't stay with you for long? Zhong Shenglin snorted. Knowing and being sad are two different things. I've been treating Go like my own daughter for the past 3 months. Hearing Marcus's resentful tone, Zhong Shenglin was amused. All right, Go made a request today. She wants to work with someone outside the institute. She probably still misses you guys. Really? Marcus probed. Why would I lie to you? Zhong Shenglin was amused, especially when he heard the sniffling sound from the other end. Don't tell me you're crying? You're the one who's crying, old thing. When they reached home, Bei Yunj started to recall Yu Manrin's words. Chapter 545. A moment later, Bei Yunj felt that her thoughts were too petty. It was not strange to bring a female companion to a business dinner. With this thought in mind, Bei Yunj went upstairs. However, 10 minutes later, Bei Yunj kept recalling the scene of her interaction with Huashidu. Only then did she feel that something was wrong. Was this man usually like this? When Bei Yunj thought about how Huashidu would interact with others like this, she felt an inexplicable sense of displeasure. 1 hour later, powerful literature Bei Yunj called Huashidu. The man's low and magnetic voice drifted into her ears through the electric current. What's wrong, Yunyun? When are you coming back? Bei Yunj asked. These words made Huashidu's thin lips curl up. He lowered his noble eyes, and the light in his eyes was inexplicably seductive. His tone was light and ostentatious. Did you miss me? Bei Yunj, Didn't Auntie Meow tell you? I'm at the banquet. I might be back very late. Hwashidu glanced at his watch. This banquet was old Master Hwa's friend's banquet. Therefore, Hwashidu could not refuse. Bei Yunj, sure, this D***M man really went to find a female companion. Seeing that Bei Yunj did not say anything, Hwashidu asked, Can't sleep, Yunyun? The two socialites who had wanted to approach and talk to him froze when they heard the man's low and magnetic voice. Was Master Du coaxing a girl to sleep? No, it's still early. I'll sleep in a while. Bei Yunj thought about it. At Hwashidu's age, it was quite normal for him to have a girlfriend. With this thought in mind, Bei Yunj felt frustrated for no reason. After hanging up the phone, she walked to the fridge and took a bottle of ice water upstairs. However, after about 10 minutes, someone called her. It was Sing-Su. What's wrong? Bei Yunj was still working on a new program, so her tone was indifferent. Miss Pei, I'm downstairs. Master Du asked me to bring you to the banquet. Bei Yunj's fingers paused. Doesn't he already have a date? Sing-Su was stunned and didn't know how to reply. He could only smile and say, You'll know when you get there. Bei Yunj, did he still want her to play with his female companion? Although she was not too happy, Bei Yunj still gave her face and prepared to see Hwashidu's female companion. After that, when Bei Yunj arrived at the banquet, Bei Yunj saw a familiar figure. She also saw the tall woman standing beside him. Hwashidu didn't seem to mind at all. He chatted with the woman close to him. Bei Yunj could even see the smile on his lips. Bei Yunj pursed her lips and quickly walked forward. However, about 2 meters away, Bei Yunj suddenly did not want to know who the woman beside Hwashidu was. Suddenly, the man's deep, magnetic, and pleasant voice sounded. Yunyun? Bei Yunj looked at Hwashidu and turned around. When she met the tall woman's eyes, she froze. F***CK, Hwashidu, are you human? I lost a round, and you still brought your girl here to laugh at me? Yu Hanran's expression was exceptionally bad. She used her fan to cover his face and glared at him with her beautiful eyes, which had eyeshadow on. Bei Yunj, what was wrong with the domineering Seo nowadays? Weren't you the one who pretended to be obedient in front of old Master Chi and insisted that I bring a female companion? The man beside her said calmly. Chapter 546. His little girl didn't like this kind of place either. He didn't want Bei Yunj to come out with him for 3 to 4 hours on the day before school started. However, this child didn't seem too happy today. It seemed like it was because of his female companion. The corners of Hwashidu's lips curled up unconsciously as he stared straight at Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj was speechless. Looking at the man's teasing gaze, she felt inexplicably guilty. Yunj, I have to explain. Your brother forced me. I lost a bet with your brother today. He insisted that I dress up as a woman and attend the banquet with him. Yu Hanran felt that his image as a domineering CEO had already collapsed. Bei Yunj was speechless. However, speaking of which, Yu Hanran did look quite good in women's clothing. His eyes were a little similar to Yu Manran's. Awesome literature website because of his deep facial features, there was a hint of exotic charm to him. At this moment, Yu Manran even called. How is it? Are you at the banquet? Master Du didn't find a female companion, did he? Bei Yunj walked to the side and chatted with Yu Manran. I did. Yu Manran was a little worried that Bei Yunj would be heartbroken. Don't be too sad. Before she could comfort her, she heard Bei Yunj say, It's your brother. Yu Manran was speechless. Your brother looks pretty good in women's clothing. Bei Yunj couldn't help but glance at Yu Hanran again. Yu Manran's scalp suddenly turned numb. I already knew that he might be a pervert, but I didn't expect him to be so perverted. Bei Yunj glanced at Yu Hanran thoughtfully. After that, after chatting with Yu Manran for 10 minutes, she walked in front of Hwashidu, but did not see Yu Hanran. Where is he? He went back. Hwashidu curled his lips and slowly reached out. His warm fingers pinched her soft and fair earlobe intimately. This action was so ambiguous that it made her blush. I thought Yunyun was unhappy today. As soon as he finished speaking, Bei Yunj felt the man's fingertips gently graze the soft flesh behind her earlobe. His entire body almost went limp. Bei Yunj, who had already felt that she was acting strangely today, felt even more baffled now. She avoided Huashidu's approach. A little. This answer indeed surprised Huashidu. He had seen this little girl's face when she said one thing and meant another. She was especially lovable. However, at this moment, when he heard the young lady's straightforward admission, her bright and beautiful face filled with unhappiness, he felt an inexplicable itch in his heart. Bei Yunj had just raised her eyes when the man suddenly bent down. The distance between them was so close that they could feel each other's breaths. The man held her hand and leaned close to her ear. His magnetic and sexy voice was low and hoarse as he laughed. "Are you here to take your brother's life?" It was the first time. Bei Yunj couldn't help blushing. This man was the one who really wanted her life. Bei Yunj, who had spent quite a long time cooling down, sat on the sofa and drank fruit juice. Her heart rate had almost calmed down. Just now, she felt that her head was about to smoke. Yun, it's not good to drink too much cold at night. The person who started it reminded her with concern. "I'm fine now." Bei Yunj smiled at him. The man slowly curled his lips and said, I'm looking at you. Your face isn't so red anymore." Bei Yunj, no one was more insatiable than him. Chapter 547. Not far away, there were many gazes looking over. Most of them were women. Bei Yunj glanced at Huashidu and was not too surprised. This man was very good at attracting bees and butterflies outside. Shidu. Not far away, an old man suddenly walked over. He was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and looked quite energetic. "Elder Qi." Huashidu stood up and walked to Elder Qi to chat. As someone who had followed Huashidu here, Bei Yunj naturally had to go up and greet him. It was more polite. "This is..." Elder Qi looked at such an exquisite and beautiful girl and was a little hesitant. "Hello, my name is Bei Yunj." Bei Yunj nodded. At this moment, the man curled his lips. "This is my girl. Elder Qi, you don't mind, right?" "How can I mind what you're saying?" Elder Qi still liked Bei Yunj quite a lot. Besides, he didn't quite understand what Huashidu meant when he said his girl. Come, let's drink some wine." Elder Qi's face was rosy as he led Huashidu, Bei Yunj, and the others to a quiet place with fewer people. At this moment, before Huashidu could speak, Bei Yunj's lips suddenly curled up unconsciously. "Brother, you still have to listen to the elders." How could Huashidu not tell that this little girl was up to no good? His sexy Adam's apple and the mole rolled as he let out a low and hoarse laugh. His well-defined hand casually pinched her cheek. His dark, unreadable eyes stared straight at her. "Sure." Bei Yunj heard the man's magnetic voice. It was seductive and ostentatious. Yun, look after me later. Don't let others take advantage of me." Bei Yunj? Not long after, Bei Yunj really saw Huashidu drinking with Elder Qi and the others not far away. After about half an hour, Bei Yunj was afraid that Huashidu would do the same as last time, so she immediately went forward and pulled Huashidu back. Her bright eyes were filled with a bright smile, but there was no room for rejection. "Old Mr. Qi, can I borrow Brother Shidu for a while?" Elder Qi watched as the man in front of him curled his lips and let the young lady in front of him hold his hand. His expression was languid and at ease, and he could not help but laugh. This was the first time he saw Huashidu listening to someone so much. "Sure, if you're tired, you can go back with Shidu first." Elder Qi was also a generous person and did not mind this. "Thank you, Mr. Qi." Bei Yunj's lips curved. After Elder Qi left, she prepared to call Tseng Su. Then, the man suddenly held her hand. His warm and dry palm gently wrapped around the back of her hand. At this moment, Bei Yunj turned to look at him. "What are you doing?" The man's eyes were deep, and she couldn't tell if he was drunk or not. His fingertips carelessly brushed across Bei Yunj's palm. His peach blossom eyes, which were usually cold and aloof, were extremely alluring at this moment. His lips curved into a natural smile, and he did not let go of his hand. "Big brother wants to hold hands." Yunj, sure, he was very straightforward about what he wanted. It was exactly the same as the last time he was drunk. Yunj felt that she could not stay any longer. She did not care that Hoshidu wanted to hold hands with her in public and simply pulled him outside. Along the way, she was on the phone with Sung-soo, and she was starting to regret encouraging this man to drink. Assistant Sing, have you arrived? Chapter 548. We're here. You and Master Du can just come out. Yunj replied, all right, sorry to trouble you. You're welcome. Assistant Seng was a little puzzled. Wasn't Master Du drunk today? In the past, when Master Du was drunk, he didn't seem to like to talk to people. He didn't know if Miss Pei brought him over. At this moment, Yunj saw that the man was holding hands and was quite obedient. She heaved a sigh of relief for no reason. If this was in public like last time, she couldn't think of any better way than to kill him to silence him. However, the night breeze outside was gentle. Other than the occasional sound of a car horn, there was only silence. Yunj also felt that the warmth on her hand inexplicably made her feel a little uncomfortable. Yunj collected her thoughts. She just wanted to get him into the car as soon as possible. Fortunately, she met Assistant Sung very quickly. Assistant Sung was also stunned when he saw Yunj and Hoshidu holding hands. After Master Du finished drinking, didn't he hate it when others touched him? So, after the two of them got into the car, Yunj leaned against the car seat and closed her eyes. She started to not understand why she had come to this banquet today. After a while, Yunj turned around and saw the man's side profile. His eyes were slightly red and his gaze was lazy and seductive. It seemed that the last time this man didn't remember anything after he woke up from his drunken stupor. Yunj suddenly called out, "Brother?" The man's eyes were extremely dark. Even the light was hidden. His magnetic voice rose and fell with his faint breath. "Do you mind if I do something I shouldn't do?" Yunj asked with curved eyes. Hearing this, the man only turned his head. He leaned lazily and raised his eyebrows slightly. His eyes were dark and he looked light and ostentatious. It was so lust that made one's legs go weak. His gaze was clearly saying, "If you want it, come and get it." However, Yunj didn't notice the aggressiveness in the man's eyes. She couldn't resist the temptation and wanted to reach out to the man's abdomen. Who would have thought? Suddenly, the man grabbed her wrist. Yunj, that was good. He still had his self-awareness. However, Yunj saw that Hoshidu refused to let go. "Brother?" She looked up and accidentally met the man's dark eyes. She felt as if she had been scalded and immediately turned her face away. But shortly after, however, she heard the man's low and hoarse laughter. His voice was long and lazy, sounding a little cynical. "Kid, have you taken a liking to me?" The atmosphere in the car was quiet and private. There was a partition in front of them, and there were only the two of them around. Yunj felt that this D***M man had really gone overboard. She didn't really want to talk to drunkards. But a few minutes later, Yunj's reasonable voice rang out. "Brother, you haven't given me my birthday present yet." The man looked at her for a while. His low and lazy voice was irresistibly sexy. "Little liar." Yunj had a vague feeling that the previous matter was about to be exposed by a drunkard. She turned her face away and didn't speak. The man seemed to have noticed that Yunj was ignoring him. He laughed softly again and his breath was a little close. It was as if he was blatantly seducing her. "Do you want a present so much?" Yunj's surroundings were invaded by the pleasant and cold smell of alcohol on his body. It made people's hearts flutter. Chapter 549. The moment she looked up, she saw that the man's eyes were half dark and half dark. He was extremely lustful. However, the man's slender and well-defined hand casually held her fingertips. The corners of his lips curled up imperceptibly. "Then I'll give it to you." Before Yunj could react, her hand was placed on the man's firm waist. At this moment, Yunj, who was not prepared, froze. She had to admit that she could see Hoshidu working out in the morning every day. The firm muscles on his waist and abdomen were very different from his refined and elegant appearance when he was wearing clothes. Separated by a thin layer of clothing, Bae Yunja's heart raced. The man was half bent over her, and the distance between them was a little too close. She could hear his low and bewitching laughter, and it made her ears burn. Is it enough, Yunyun? Bae Yunj, why did this man feel like he was not human no matter what he said? He was too lustful. Awesome literature website, huh? In the next moment, before Bae Yunj could react, the man's seductive low voice sprayed on her neck along with his warm breath, causing her heart to tremble. Not enough? Then, Huashidu's cold fingers held Bae Yunj's hand and moved it down. Bae Yunj felt that she had touched a metal belt buckle. Before she could react, she heard Huashidu chuckle softly. He exuded a lustful and light aura. His eyes were dark and seductive, and his tone was ambiguous and deadly, making her legs go weak. Then this is your gift. Do you want to open it? Bae Yunj quickly retracted her hand and almost exploded again. Her ears were unbelievably red. However, at this moment, the man looked at the young lady's angry expression and chuckled happily. Bae Yunj reacted, but Huashidu rubbed her head again. This D*Emin man did it on purpose. The next day, as expected, Bae Yunj went downstairs and saw the man sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. Bae Yunj, sure, this D*Emin man had forgotten again. Yunyun? Huashidu felt Bae Yunj's gaze, but the memories of yesterday were a little fragmented. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm fine. Every time this man did something when he was drunk, it was hard to talk about it. If she did not know Huashidu's personality, she would have suspected that Huashidu had lied to her twice. After breakfast, Bae Yunj remembered what happened last night very clearly, so she simply went out without saying anything to Huashidu. Huashidu also noticed that this little girl's attitude towards him seemed to be the same as the last time he was drunk. Half a month passed just like that. Hongda's final exams had already ended. At this moment, Bae Yunj finally realized that Teacher Wen had a motive for sending her to the special class. This special class didn't have long holidays. Bae Yunj did not have much patience at first and continued to attend this special class. However, Song Yao brought different pastries over every day, so she came every day. When she was studying, Qin Yu called. I have a reality variety show that I can invite family members to participate in. Are you free? When Qin Yu asked, his palms were covered in sweat. He had thought about it for 2 weeks before he mustered up the courage to ask. No. Bae Yunj rejected him very straightforwardly. Is that so? All right then. Qin Yu's eyes darkened and the corners of his lips curled up. How have you been recently? Chapter 550. Ever since Ge stayed with Huashidu, it was very difficult for him to see Ge. Even if he took the initiative to invite her, Ge had never agreed to it. Only the old master was useful to Ge. I'm fine. Is there anything else? I'm in class. Bae Yunja's tone was calm. It was neither distant nor close, just like when they first met. No, take good care of yourself. After hanging up, Song Yao, who was beside her, asked, Who was it? Bae Yunj did not answer. He only glanced at her questions and pointed at one of her questions with a pen. Recalculate. Song Yao was speechless. She did not know why, but her desk mate had never attended a class before and knew that she was wrong just by looking at the question. Unfortunately, the teacher in class did not like Bae Yunj. He felt that Bae Yunj was here to play and relied on connections. At night, Bae Yunj entered another strange dream. It was a press conference. A woman was pulling a little girl and accusing Qin Yu of having a fetish for children and molesting girls. Qin Yu did not look well and his eyes were lifeless. However, she did not expect a situation to occur at the scene. A fan who had turned anti-fan splashed the sulfuric acid he brought forward indiscriminately. A girl who looked like her instinctively wanted to block it for Qin Yu. However, Qin Yu was even faster and shielded her behind him. The scene was filled with wails and howls, but most of them were watching coldly from the sidelines, looking at the injured Qin Yu mockingly. Qin Yu's back was almost covered in bones. His originally handsome and arrogant side profile was even more mangled. Bae Yunj saw that the girl Chin Yu was protecting was crying. Chin Yu leaned towards her ear and seemed to have said something. In the end, he forced himself to watch the girl leave before he fainted. She woke up. Bae Yunj felt that the corners of her eyes were a little wet and she touched them. They were tears. She did not know if she was crying or if the original protagonist was crying. The dream last night was very real. She could even feel the original protagonist's emotions. A voice filled her mind and she kept asking, "Please, someone help me." Bae Yunj suddenly remembered that when she had just woken up from the mental hospital, she had also heard this voice. This was most likely because the original owner's obsession was too deep, so she was able to be reborn into her body. "Next time, let me have a good sleep." Bae Yunj seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be talking to someone. With a light tap of her fingers, she sent Chin Yu a message. When is the variety show? I'm not recording at night. Anything else is fine." After sending it, Bae Yunj glanced at Chin Yu's reply and called Song Yao. What is it?" Bae Yunj slowly unbuttoned her pajamas with one hand, revealing her fair skin. "I have something to do in 2 days. Can you help me apply for leave from Professor Wei?" "Sure, but Professor Wei is probably going to cause trouble for you." "Anything is fine. Thanks." Bae Yunj smirked lazily. In the dream, the little girl Chin Yu saw was hired by this production team for Chin Yu. Since this was the person the original owner wanted to protect, she could not let this happen again. After she was done with the trivial matters, 2 days later, Bae Yunj was picked up by Chin Yu. At the airport, before Bae Yunj got out of the car, she could feel the enthusiasm of Chin Yu's fans. Bae Yunj put on her mask and lowered her cap. After Chin Yu walked down, the fans saw him turn around and come out with a good-looking girl. Chapter 551. The fans present could not help but scream excitedly. "Who is this girl? F***CK, it's his sister." When the other fans heard this, they immediately knew Bae Yunj's identity and became even more excited. Pei, sister-in-law. Sister-in-law is here." Bae Yunj had never seen such a scene and looked over instinctively. Then she realized that something was wrong. Bae Yunj was speechless. In the eyes of the fans, this scene was simply adorable. Suddenly, Chin Yu pulled her over and pulled down his mask slightly. His low voice sounded casually. "Don't bully me. Hubby, why did you bring your sister here?" The girl who picked him up asked very naturally. Chin Yu glanced at her lazily and chuckled. "Miss, I brought my sister here to record a show." Seeing that Chin Yu was still not falling for it like before, the other fans were not discouraged. Instead, they continued to set the trap. On the way, Bae Yunj did not say a word. After registering, she entered the cabin. On this day, the headlines were all over the charts. #Chin Yu's sister, #, Chin Yu's family looks, #, Chin Yu and they are traveling, #. They Are Traveling was a live-streaming variety show for celebrities and their younger siblings. It could be said that it was a mess at the moment, so the director had asked for a favor to invite Chin Yu. Because when Chin Yu left home to develop, the director of They Are Traveling had helped Chin Yu a lot, so Chin Yu could not refuse. When they arrived at the venue booked by the production team, Bae Yunj and Chin Yu did not expect to bump into Yun Nua and Chin Yo Jiao here. Come. Let's take a short video before the recording. With that said, the director pushed Chin Yu and Bae Yunj in first. Bae Yunj frowned unconsciously, but did not say anything. She only took off her mask and hat. At this moment, the production team, who saw Bae Yunj's face through the camera, froze. Brother Yu's younger sister was too beautiful? She wasn't even considering debuting? The staff member immediately picked up Bae Yunj's personal information. After memorizing some important information, he smiled and asked, "Miss Pei, are you interested in this show?" Bae Yunj allowed the female staff to adjust the earpiece. She slowly looked up and asked, "You want me to tell the truth?" The production team. Beside her, Chin Yu was speechless. His gut did not seem to be suitable for variety shows. Meanwhile, everyone in the program team was thinking that another King troublemaker had appeared. Then let's say something to each other. The director tried to liven up the atmosphere. Hearing this, Chin-yu was the first to take the initiative to look at Bae-yunj. He had the face of a teenage killer, arrogant and handsome. He looked at Bae-yunj and smiled. "I'll take good care of you during this trip." Although there weren't any pleasant words, they were very true. The director nodded and pointed the camera at Bae-yunj. Unexpectedly, Bae-yunj was silent for a moment. "Okay." As soon as he finished speaking, the smiles on the production team's faces disappeared. "Okay? Okay?" They couldn't take it anymore. However, hearing this, Chin-yu chuckled unconsciously. His dark eyes seemed to be glowing as he stared at Bae-yunj without blinking. He didn't care about anything else. It was already very good that he could be alone with Gu this time. However, later on, the director saw that the other groups were doing quite well and heaved a sigh of relief. He edited the film and posted it online for voting and publicity. However, what he did not expect was Chin-yu and his sister's team was the first in history. Chapter 552. Did the audience already look at faces to this extent? The funny and emotional people next door couldn't compare to this pair of plastic siblings. However, the production team was also knowledgeable. "Go high and go low, go high and go low," the assistant director said. It was probably because the interaction between Bae-yunj and the sister-in-law fans at the airport was too loving. Therefore, the viewership ratings of this program depended on them at the beginning. However, as for the later part, everyone was more dependent on character. Yun Nua's expression was dark and her tone was a little bad. "You actually brought her to participate in a variety show? Isn't he afraid of embarrassing himself?" Chin Yo-jiao's expression did not look too good either. The purpose of her and Yun Nua coming here this time was actually to give her a chance to interact with Chin-yu. "Really?" Chin Yo-jiao looked at her and smiled. "There are 2 spots in the International Musicians Association. One is me and the other is an old gentleman." Hearing this, Yun Nua laughed even more. However, she never thought that Chin-yu would bring Bae-yunj. "She has always liked to follow me no matter what I do." Chin Yo-jiao's tone was mocking. "I saw her go during the International Musicians Association selection." Yun Nua laughed coldly. "Yo-jiao, she got herself into trouble this time. What are you afraid of?" She felt that this was a chance to completely ruin Bae-yunj's reputation. Back then, Bae-yunj had also let Jiao Jiao be defamed like this. "I knew it. Even if she imitates you, she can't be much better than you." Chin Yo-jiao's eyes darkened. But this time, her target should be second brother. Second brother has only met her once before. I'm really curious why second brother would treat her like that. The next day, after the official start, Bae-yunj met the other 4 teams. Hearing this, the corners of Chin Yo-jiao's lips gradually curled up. Wasn't it easy for Bae-yunj to be disliked? Oh my god, the guests of this season are super good looking. Goddess Yun Nua and Chin Yo-jiao are both talented goddesses. Heart. Ah, brother Yu, I'm here to see my sister. In the 5th team, there were 2 pairs of siblings, a pair of brothers, a pair of siblings, and a pair of sisters. However, only Yun Nua's group was not related by blood. Seeing that the 5 groups of people were exceptionally good-looking, the viewers in the live broadcast room had already started to flood the screen. Most of the comments in the livestream were Chin-yu's fans or people who knew about this program because of Chin-yu. As for the other artistes, other than Promise Yun, who was an A-list artiste and was quite popular, they were all B-list and below. Oh my god, brother Yu's sister is too beautiful. Sister, elope with sister-in-law. Woo, why are you even more handsome than your brother? Hua Dun and his younger brother are so pretty. The film crew, the other guests. If this program was going to be a sister con competition, then they would definitely lose. It had just started and before the production team could speak, everyone saw Chin-yu covering the sun with his hand for Bae-yunj. Seeing that it didn't work, he walked to the side, took off his manager's hat, and put it on Bae-yunj's head. The manager? On the other hand, the fans on the bullet screen were laughing. "Director, let's change to a cooler place next time. My sister's skin is fair," Chin Yu said with a frown. There was no point in participating in this variety show. Best actor Chin dotes on his sister. I announce that the first place belongs to Chin Yu. The broadcast hasn't even started and Brother Yu has already shown off how he dotes on his sister. Chapter 553. After this, the sharp-eyed netizens saw another pair of siblings. The younger sister had secretly kicked the older brother. The older brother who was kicked was speechless. "Haha, did you see that? The other pair of siblings is too funny." The younger sister kicked the older brother because of Best Actor Chin's doting. "It's Tang Yiming. Let me introduce her to everyone. She's a brother from a boy band." The atmosphere at the beginning of the program was quite good. However, after a while, a person in a bear coat led a good-looking child onto the stage. Everyone was immediately melted by her cuteness. The production team said, "Because we were originally worried that the artiste we signed wouldn't be able to take care of her family at the last minute, we signed a child. During this period of time, who would be willing to take care of a child?" It was the girl who had been brought out in her dream to testify that Chin Yuga had molested her. At this moment, Bei Yunj did not notice that Chin Yu's eyes darkened and he clenched his fist slightly. The other four teams raised their hands very respectfully. With that said, most of the fans in the comments were commenting on Chin Yu. However, Bei Yunj looked up and felt that this little girl was a little familiar. "Sister Lila seems to like Brother Yu. Sister Lila is so cute." However, the production team spoke again. "Lila, you can walk to whichever team you like." With that said, Lila's eyes wandered around everyone before she stared straight at Chin Yu. "Second brother, don't bask in the sun. After all, it's already troublesome enough to take care of me alone." There was a full half a minute of silence. "She's declaring her sovereignty." Before everyone could form a couple, they suddenly saw Bei Yunj take off her hat and tiptoe to put it on Chin Yu's head. Chin Yu was a little stunned by Bei Yunj's sudden action. Bei Yunj's red lips curled up and she held Chin Yu's hand again, leaning her head gently on his shoulder. "I'm a little speechless. Will she be like this when her brother finds a wife in the future? I'm really afraid of this kind of sister. She's indeed a petty person. No wonder she insisted on chasing Chin Yu Jiao away. I'm impressed. I want a brother like Chin Yu too. I definitely won't let anyone touch my brother either. So, is little sister that Sundra type? So cute. Are you going to argue with a kid? That's his younger sister. Why did you kick me?" Tang Yiming lowered her voice and asked. Sister Tang whined, "I want to lean on Big Brother's shoulder too." Tang Yiming remained silent for a moment before limping to the side. Her rejection was obvious. The people in the bullet screen did not affect the people in the show at all. At this moment, Tang Yiming was almost crippled by her younger sister's kick. At this very moment, seeing Bei Yunj's actions just now, jealousy surged in Chin Yu Jiao's heart. Her brothers used to belong to her. Sister Tang was speechless. This pair of siblings is so realistic. It's my and my brother's daily life. Tang Yiming dotes on her younger sister too. Actually, she was the little girl's mother and her manager. However, Bei Yunj could not be arrogant for long. Just the fact that she had argued with a child just now was enough to make some people on the internet hate her for life. No one noticed that at this moment, Bei Yunj's eyes swept past the others, but in the end, they only landed on one person. Soon, a cold smile flashed past Chin Yu Jiao's lips. There was no smile in her eyes. At this moment, anger had just risen in Lila's mother's heart. She was a little disgusted with this troublesome sister of Chin Yu. Chapter 554. However, she did not expect to meet Bei Yunj's eyes. She could not help but feel a chill run down her spine. On the way here, she kept reminding Lila to form a team with Chin Yu. Only by being a couple with Chin Yu would there be value in participating in this show. "Why don't Lila come to my place?" Lila glanced at her mother and saw her nod with a dark expression. She then glanced at Chin Yu and joined Chin Yu Jiao's team in the end. Seeing this, the internet was filled with praises. My impression of Qin Yojiao has changed. At least she's better than a certain someone. Qin Yojiao is beautiful and kind, heart. Comparing her character, the only good thing for a real daughter is her status. Mai Jiao is the only female member of the International Musicians Association in country A. Are you done? How can you be so evil? Just as everyone was arguing, a cloud-piercing arrow suddenly appeared. After that, hundreds of cloud-piercing arrows were shot out in groups of 50 and 50. They looked at the ID again. Yuman ran V. Everyone in front of the screen was speechless. Yuman ran himself? Within moments, they saw Yuman ran speak. Master Pei, I love you. Master Pei, fly bravely. Man will always be with you. Heart. Yu Manran's fans, who were silently watching the show, suddenly saw their idol lose her mind. Do you know that you have a noble and cold persona? Master Pei's? Bei Yunj? I remember now. Yu Manran even spoke to Qin Yu's sister before. These two know each other. Ah, so my man likes brother Yu's sister. Ah, she's just seducing a rich family. Yu's fans should feel less superior. Audiobook. The director on the set was handed his phone by another staff member to take a look. Yu Manran's true body actually came to give him a few hundred gifts. This cloud-piercing arrow cost 10,000 yuan each. The director never thought that their first fortune would be brought by Bei Yunj. After being assigned a task, Master Pei, who was still sitting in the sightseeing car, was eating melons. The cameraman couldn't help but ask, "Film Emperor Qin, isn't it time for you guys to take action?" The mission this time was to make everyone rely on themselves to earn money for the trip. But the minimum amount was 100 yuan. In the end, the siblings had no idea how much a watermelon was worth. 100 yuan for a watermelon? Although the photographer wanted to remind the two of them who were born in a wealthy family, he thought that they should be exposed to the dangers of the world during this trip. The bullet screen was also filled with laughter. Haha, brother and sister, do you exchange your brains for your looks? 100 yuan for a watermelon. This watermelon must be hiding gold. It's okay. At least I bought some happiness. Look at how happy the siblings are. Everyone agreed with this point of view. In the other live stream rooms, they were already working seriously. The brother and sister took the 100 yuan watermelon and went for a spin at the beach. Afternoon. Bei Yunj and her husband used the guaranteed money to eat a watermelon. As for Qin Yojiao, she had already earned 500 yuan playing the piano in a high-end restaurant. The netizens were very envious of such a talented girl. Some people had even compared Qin Yojiao to Bei Yunj. They said that Bei Yunj was brought up by director Lin, but in the end, she was far worse than Qin Yojiao. This was too embarrassing for director Lin. A portion of Qin Yu's fans fell silent. Although Qin Yu didn't have much of a sense for variety shows in the past, bringing his sister along this time was too embarrassing. Chapter 555. I've discussed it with the other side. I can lead the team to sing. I'll take 40% of the commission. Qin Yu asked softly, do you want to watch from below? He was not sure if Bei Yunj could accept a noisy place. Go ahead. I'll try something else. With that said, Qin Yu nodded. With the production team around, he was not afraid that something would happen to Bei Yunj. However, seeing Qin Yu leave, the people on the bullet screen started to criticize him. I knew it. Brother, you must have planned it. There are 3 sisters in the team. Why is Bei Yunj so burdensome? This is really the first time I'm going to stop being a fan because of her family. Just wait and see. When the time comes, she will definitely sit there and enjoy the breeze. When Qin Yu comes back from singing, she will share the money with a clear conscience. The comments were already filled with Bei Yunj's haters. The production team was also hesitating if they should remind Bei Yunj. At this moment, the cameraman asked softly, Internet Cafe. If she spoke like this, the entire internet would criticize her sooner or later. Miss, where are you going? Maps of the Gods would randomly PK 3 professional players. There would be rewards for winning 2 rounds. However, because the opponent was a professional player, No one dared to play this side quest. The moment Bae Yunj finished speaking, everyone remembered. Because this show was sponsored by Maps of the Gods, there was a side quest. There was a certain difference between ordinary people and professional players, unless the other party went easy on them. However, it was too obvious to go easy on them in such a competition. What kind of joke was this? If they lost, they would be embarrassed in front of the public. I just scanned the players who can be paired with her at the speed of light. There's no one in Qin Lang's team. Who is she counting on to go easy on them? I really can't stand it anymore. She's really pretentious and brainless. No one wanted to be labeled as cheating in order to win a variety show. F***CK, can Bae Yunj have some self-awareness? The cameraman was stunned as well. Internet cafe? I suddenly find Qin Yojiao much more pleasing to the eye at this moment. The Azura card allowed the other guests to go offline early. The exchange card could be used with any guest to forcefully exchange items. It could only be used later. The rewards for the side quest were public. There were only Azura cards and exchange cards. At the front desk of the internet cafe. Miss, how much is an hour? So what was Bae Yunj up to? So, she thought for a moment. Is 40 minutes okay? Sure. The shop assistant smiled. $10. At this time, Bae Yunj looked at the 5 yuan in her hand and then looked up at the shop assistant. Bae Yunj smiled. After the staff turned on the computer, she logged in according to the number given by the film crew. When the staff saw the cameraman behind Bae Yunj, she knew that they were here to record a show, so she didn't mind. Thank you. I can't watch this anymore. I'd better go and see my brother you. She must be the first person to drive her brother's fans away, right? It had to be said that this equipment was indeed not bad. But no matter what, his opponent was a pro player. Next. Bae Yunj was also matched with an opponent. If you don't like it, why don't you just leave? Did you die suddenly? Do you need everyone to send you off? Perhaps because this sentence was too harsh, the comments went silent for a few minutes. Bae Yunj. Hearing this voice, Bae Yunj felt like she had heard it somewhere before. I thought that you would play a friendly match with Qin Lang. What a pity. Xiao Ji's eyes were dark as he chuckled. But it's okay. We'll have the chance to meet this time. All right, Miss Pei, don't blame me. I can't go easy on you in this competition. Chapter 556. As soon as she said this, everyone felt as if they had met their enemy. Some people in the esports industry were very straightforward when they started to fight. However, at this moment, Bae Yunj chuckled and lazily adjusted her microphone. She laughed and said in an unrestrained manner, "Let's have a competition. Don't treat me like your father." She was being sarcastic. Xiao Ji pretended not to go easy on her and mocked her for being weak. Bae Yunj mocked Xiao Ji for being too respectful and treating her like his father. The comments were all shocked by Bae Yunj's counterattack. Xiao Ji's face was also green and red. His eyes were completely gloomy. Needless to say, with Bae Yunj's personality, if she was a capable person, she would probably be quite likable. Although she had won verbally, she would lose miserably later on. What IQ? Defending Xiao Ji at this time? She was a walking devil. But it was a pity that she was a young miss who didn't know anything at all. Fine, then I'll take a good look at your skills. This is the first time I've seen someone who isn't afraid of death. You can be arrogant. Sister, you have to have some skills too. At the same time, Qin Lang, who was watching the competition, had a dark expression on his face. This Xiao Ji. Xiao Ji sneered and cut to the official competition. Bae Yunj had already entered the competition venue. However, just when everyone thought that the outcome was predictable, the competition ended in less than 10 minutes. He would beat him up the next time he saw him. He even dared to go against Gu. This scene stunned the people who were still criticizing Bae Yunj. Damn. And on the screen, there was a dazzling scene. Bae Yunj won. They were still waiting for Xiao Ji to teach Bae Yunj a lesson. After they regained their senses, the comments exploded. Even the film crew noticed that Bae Yunj's data was abnormal. What the hell? Wasn't Xiao Ji the second best professional player in the country? He didn't go easy on her? F asterisk C. I don't know if Bei Yunj is going easy or not, but her hand speed is way too fast. Her hand speed is definitely one of the best in the country. What the F asterisk CK? Killing Xiao Ji in 6 or 7 minutes. What the F asterisk CK is this? When Qin Lang and Xiao Ji fought, I remember that it was 20 minutes, right? You save more time than I thought. Bei Yunj smiled lazily, not forgetting to provoke Xiao Ji. Xiao Ji went easy on Qin Lang's sister? You think you're dreaming? What did I miss? She just went to the toilet. Why are you all spamming Bei Yunj? He had thought that Bei Yunj was not good at gaming and that was why Qin Lang did not bring her along. But in the end, Xiao Ji's face was livid. Why didn't you participate in the friendly competition? That's not necessary. Bei Yunj said lightly. This was his first time losing to an outsider. This person was Qin Lang's sister. Don't be busy. I don't have much time. Bei Yunj furrowed his eyebrows unconsciously and glanced at the program design. On the other hand, Qin Lang, who had been watching Bei Yunj's livestream, had his eyes dim and his heart felt like it was being grabbed ruthlessly by a hand. Ge had forgiven Qin Yu, but not him? Only when the other party took the initiative to go offline could the next person come. Xiao Ji's face was livid. Feeling humiliated, he immediately went offline. Only the people in the comments seemed to have understood something. There's not much time. You only have 40 minutes. Chapter 557. Don't ask. If you ask, it's the temptation of a watermelon. Duh. I suddenly understand how cute this sister is. She's arrogant and cute. What kind of fat four is she? What's there to be cute about? What can the Azura cards and exchange cards do? At this moment, the director also asked the person who had been monitoring Bei Yunj's live broadcast. What's the matter? What happened? Bei Yunj defeated Xiao Ji. That person took a long time to react. He felt his scalp go numb. That Xiao Ji who is in second place? The director froze. Yes, that person glanced at the screen again and swallowed his saliva. Now she has won against the 5th place. She only has 5 yuan. Where did she go to open the secondary line? The staff looked at the time. It's just right now. She took 13 minutes. The director was speechless. The director was about to crack. Who was this person? She had won against the top professional players at the start of the game. 5 yuan, 40 minutes. Bei Yunj was still sending away one player after another in the internet cafe. She was cold and very formulaic. So much so that the remaining 20 professional players were very afraid that they would be drawn. At this speed, was Bei Yunj going to F** King destroy the secondary line? At this moment, seeing that Bei Yunj had used 40 minutes to draw all the cards, the director team fell into deep thought. Was their secondary line too simple? It was not that they were afraid. They had already gotten the first kill of Xiao Ji at the very beginning. Weren't they just going to have fun with the rest? An untimely question arose in their hearts. Qin Lang's sister was so good at fighting, but she did not join the gaming team. Where did Qin Lang get the courage to join? But before that, no one was like Bei Yunj. Gradually. Next, someone woke everyone up. Why is Bei Yunj playing the secondary line? At this moment, Qin Lang also began to have the same thoughts. However, they were also very curious about what Bei Yunj was trying to do. Could it be that she wanted to use the Azura cards to exchange for other people's money? Actually, the secondary line was just for show. Anyway, no one played it. The next moment, while everyone was puzzled, Bei Yunj strolled around and soon saw a guest participating in the competition. It just so happened that he could use both cards. Hua Sun looked at Bei Yunj with a trace of disgust. He had always been a fan of Qin Yojiao and indeed did not have a good impression of Bei Yunj. He seemed to be the younger brother of an artist with the surname Hua. You're Bei Yunj? How much money have you earned? There was obvious mockery in his tone. However, Hua Sun could not help but snicker. You don't know anything. How are you going to earn it? Hua Sun watched as the stack of cards Bei Yunj was playing with fell from her left hand to her right hand. She looked like a big boss. That's because my parents have always told me that the fastest way to earn money is written in the criminal law. Tease. She revealed the Azura card. She was robbing him so brazenly. Hua Sun regained his senses, but his first reaction was to ask. Her lazy voice was gentle. I'm sorry, friend. Do you want to pay or get eliminated? Hua Sun was speechless. Why does she have a stack of Azura cards? The production team, who had been paying attention to Bei Yunj and wanted to see what Bei Yunj wanted to do, was speechless. Sure. Ruthless people never took the ordinary path. Haha, damn, is this Sister Chin Yu style? Chapter 558. Where did this big boss come from? Pay or get eliminated? I'm laughing so hard. Master Pei is dead. Everyone, please type 6666 on the public screen. Thank you. The following comments were filled with 66666. In the headlines, Bei Yunj's continuous actions had rushed to the top of the list. More and more people were watching Bei Yunj's livestream. The moment they entered, they saw that Bei Yunj was visiting them in a friendly manner. Their attitude was quite good, so they let them off first. Those with bad attitudes were only left with 200 yuan. For example, Hua Sun just now. On the way, Bei Yunj sat by the lake, biting her candy lazily as she looked at the moon. The moment Chin Yu returned, he brought 2,000 yuan. When Bei Yunj saw him, she gave 3,000 yuan to Chin Yu. Chin Yu was speechless. Where did you get it from? Chin Yu asked. Bei Yunj said, someone gave it to me. The comments were filled with, what the F***ck did someone give it to you? Then, seeing that Chin Yu did not believe him, Bei Yunj said slowly, I snatched it with the Azura card. I was too embarrassed to do it to a girl. After spamming for so long, I thought this person had no bottom line. In the end, he was too embarrassed to snatch a girl's card. Haha, Hua Sun, I hate it. Boo-hoo, Master Pei is a little flirtatious. Chin Yu was speechless. You got the Azura card? Didn't they say that it was very difficult? Do you want it? Bei Yunj took out the stack of cards. Chin Yu looked at the stack of Azura cards. This was probably all the production team had. Several questions flashed through Chin Yu's mind. In the end, he only pitted the production team and did not ask anything else. Many people were spamming the words, Bei Yunj is a bug in the human world. That night, Chin Yu's team stayed in a high-end hotel. After Chin Yojiao found out about this, she comforted Hua Sun, saying that Bei Yunj had such a personality. However, both she and Yun Nuo did not look too good. In the bookstore, they did not expect Bei Yunj to have such a trick up her sleeve. The ones who couldn't sleep the most were the film crew. Late at night, the film crew was still having a meeting to discuss what to do about Bei Yunj. Someone suggested that if it really didn't work, they would use Plan B. However, everyone expressed that if they could grit their teeth and do it, they still had to do it. However, until the next day, Hua Sun happily walked out of his workplace with the money. As soon as he looked up, he saw Bei Yunj smiling at him with the Azura card in his hand. The two of them looked at each other speechlessly. Hua Sun, Hua Sun, it's a familiar feeling again. Super arrogant Master Pei, charging online. Master Pei's smile is too expensive. F***ck, what should I do? I'm going to make a random couple. Master Pei and Hua Sun are too F***king interesting, At the same time. This scene also made the film crew make up their minds. Execute Plan B. He couldn't allow this bug to act recklessly anymore. Others were trying their best to find a job, but she was charging them? This variety show must not have any bugs. In fact, at this moment. Dad, I'll call you Dad, alright? Don't fight with me. If you snatch it from me again, my brother will beat me up. Hua Sun hugged the money. He was on the verge of tears. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and stuffed another 2,000 yuan into Hua Sun's hands. She sneered. You're promising. Hua Sun looked at the 2,000 yuan that came out of nowhere and was stunned. Then he looked up and asked in disbelief, where did you get the money? Don't tell me you snatched it from the production crew? No, I brought people online to exchange for it. Bei Yunj also had experience in bringing people online in school. Therefore, she was able to get online very quickly. Chapter 559. Including the money to repair the computers in the internet cafe, it should be around 5,000 yuan. F*CK, Master Pei is amazing. I thought it was her gaming addiction acting up. I didn't expect her to charge. No wonder I saw her carrying a pile of things to repair in the afternoon. She's actually earning money to repay Hua Sun. Isn't this sister too much? I want to marry her. I thought about it. Children are watching, so I can't lead them astray. Bei Yunj smirked and turned to leave. Hua Sun chased after her, his attitude obviously much more intimate than before. Master Pei, are you so good at gaming? Seeing Hua Sun being so obsequious, everyone in the live stream wanted to laugh unconsciously. Why didn't this silly child bear any grudges? He had forgotten that he had been robbed before. What everyone did not expect was that Bei Yunj was the main reason for the popularity of their traveling. A portion of people had also become Bei Yunj's fans. However, there were also people who started to speak sarcastically. You earned so much from repairing computers and playing games? Qin Yojiao didn't earn so much even after playing the piano for an entire day. There are really so many Bei Yunj posts. Did the Qin family buy this at a high price? She made the headlines while playing games and repairing computers. I'm laughing. Seriously, delete the posts that helped Qin Yojiao in the past and criticize Bei Yunj again, okay? I, the esports fans, am the first to disagree. Are you looking down on proper professions? The words of Qin Yojiao's fans spread to the esports scene and were torn apart in full swing. On the other hand, a technical blogger in the esports scene dug out Bei Yunj's hand speed on the computer. She was probably much faster than Qin Lang. This shocked the entire esports scene. Were the genes of the Qin family born with esports cells? In the afternoon, when everyone realized that their traveling was not live streaming, they all tagged the official account. Even terms like hashtag their traveling hashtag had rushed to the trending searches. 258. How am I supposed to watch handsome guys if you guys stop broadcasting? At their traveling, F*CK, you're stopping your broadcast at this time? I order you to arrange it immediately. At their traveling? I've just become a fan, what are you doing? Very soon. The official account replied. They're traveling. Sorry for the long wait, due to some uncontrollable reasons we're changing the map. We hope that everyone will continue to support us. We'll continue the live stream tomorrow. But when they saw this message, the audience mocked him. Haha, the uncontrollable reason is the human bug Bei Yunj. Can't you just change the name? The uncontrollable Master Pei, dog. It's so tragic. The production team has done so many designs, but in the end, they have to change the map. Over here. Bei Yunj, who was suddenly informed to change the map, raised her eyebrows unconsciously. Is something the matter? She asked. The film crew. Don't you have any idea? The next day, after a night of driving, everyone arrived at a place. It was a training ground. All the guests. Why was it different from what they had said? At this moment, the live broadcast had already begun. What the hell? Did the production team directly send him to the war zone? So ruthless. Master Pei is really pitiful. Qin Yojiao, who was beside her, glanced at Bei Yunj with dark eyes. She did not expect Bei Yunj's popularity to skyrocket in the past 2 days. There were actually so many people who liked her. Jiao, calm down, Yun Nuo reminded her. Hearing this. Chapter 560. As long as she found a chance, she would definitely make Bei Yunj step on her. Qin Yojiao's eyes were dark as she made up her mind. Changing the map at the last minute and changing the trip to a war zone, there were quite a lot of discussions outside. After all, this had nothing to do with traveling. Besides, the production team probably didn't consider that the little girl they had asked Qin Yojiao and Yun Nuo to take care of before. Hello, I'm your instructor. During this period of time, I'll be in charge of everyone. The burly instructor blew a long whistle and shouted in a hoarse voice, "Do you all understand?" "Understood." The instructor frowned. "When you speak, you have to shout, 'Reporting.'" "Reporting, understood." Seeing that these people were easy to take care of, the instructor's eyebrows relaxed slightly. However, when he asked these people to start standing in a military posture, he felt that it was difficult. Other than Qin Yu and the flower shield, the military posture they were standing in was not right. After the instructor pointed at them one by one, he stopped in front of Qin Yojiao and nodded. "Not bad. Clench your hands tightly." The corners of Qin Yojiao's lips curled up and she continued to stand seriously. So, the instructor also stopped in front of Bei Yunj. Her military posture was not bad, but for some reason, there was a laziness to it. She looked like those troublemakers in the war zone. "Have you stood in a military posture before?" The instructor could not help asking. "Reporting, I have." Bei Yunj did not hide it, but this laziness did not diminish. Actually, when these people came in just now, the people in the war zone who passed by were secretly saying that a goddess had arrived on this variety show. They were talking about Bei Yunj. Tsinghua University. Not long after she arrived, the other instructors who had yet to receive training were already shouting for the team bell. However, they probably did not expect this team bell to be a little troublemaker. After an entire morning of training, the difficulty did not decrease at all, making the people in the comments start to feel sorry for their idol. However, the girl who was praised the most was Qin Yojiao. Her attitude was serious and she could learn most of it immediately. In the comments, Qin Yojiao's fans were already overjoyed. Especially after lunch, they finally had time to rest for a while. When everyone sat down to interact, Qin Yojiao's talent was praised by all the instructors. Hearing this, Qin Yojiao only nodded with a smile. She looked very cultured. And this morning, Bei Yunj seemed to be quite quiet. This caused the comments to go with the wind. "I'm dying of laughter. Didn't you see that the instructor only paid attention to Bei Yunj from the beginning to the end?" Most of the comments were from Qin Yojiao's fans. Reporting. "This child has to go to the infirmary." Bei Yunj glanced at Lila, who was standing beside her. Seeing that it was useless to shade her from the sun with her hands, she took off her hat and fanned her. "Who allowed you to take off your hat?" Reporting, "We'll punish her later. This child is going to get a heat stroke." Bei Yunj's pretty eyes revealed a trace of impatience. At this moment, the instructor also glanced at the production team. Chapter 561. Director, if anything happens to this child, do you have the ability to take someone's life? Bei Yunj asked slowly. Only Bei Yunj dared to say this. Qin Yu, who was beside him, looked over and said, "Director, send her away." Seeing that Qin Yu had said so, the production team had no choice but to agree. At this moment, the manager's mother hurriedly said, "She's fine. She'll be fine after resting for a while." This was such a good opportunity to be exposed. If Lila left now, wouldn't she miss out on a huge sum of money? Some people in the production team frowned unconsciously. Although many mothers of cute children would send their children into the entertainment industry to develop, this was the most ruthless mother they had ever seen. A few cameramen also gave this mother some shots. Seeing this, Lila's mother panicked. Her expression was terrible and she called reluctantly to get someone to fetch Lila. "Mom, I'm so tired." At this moment, Lila, who was wearing a camouflage uniform, was already crying. In the comments, everyone's heart ached. This child was only 4 or 5 years old. At this time, children would only rely more on what their parents said. If no one taught them good and evil, right and wrong, they would lack a moral measure in their hearts. When it was about time for someone to take Lila away. At the same time, Bei Yunj was still standing in a military posture, looking straight ahead as she fanned the child with one hand. She could almost feel that Lila's mother was the culprit behind Qin Yu's incident in her previous life. Little Lila looked at her for a while before leaving with her mother. But as he walked, a piece of candy fell from his belt. Little Lila was stunned for a moment before she squatted down to pick it up. She roughly knew where this candy came from. Little Lila could not help but look up at her. "Sister, do you hate me a lot?" Bei Yunj smirked and reached out to tug at her belt gently. "Can't you tell?" She had heard from the company that the market for couples with age differences was not bad. At this thought, Lila's mother was annoyed. "It's all Bei Yunj's fault." "Really? Mom, is it because people only like good children?" On the way, she listened to her mother go on. "If it wasn't for Bei Yunj, I would have made you and Chin you a couple long ago." After little Lila finished speaking, she turned her head and continued to eat the candy. It was as if they had just talked about the weather. However, Lila's mother was inexplicably flustered. Little Lila bit the candy and asked while holding her hand. Before Lila's mother could answer her, Lila turned her head. Her expressionless gaze and words made her freeze. "Then why do you want me to be a bad child?" Bei Yunj's eyes were clear and she looked casual. Reporting, "It's because I don't dare to take off your hat." The guests, when they heard Bei Yunj's comment, they felt as if they had been resurrected. "Why did you take off your hat?" The instructor looked at Bei Yunj and asked. Obviously, he was here to make trouble. "Master Pei, is there really anything in this world that you don't dare to do?" "Bei Yunj, don't you know that you will be trained hard? You like to be in the limelight too much." "Ha ha ha, you're the first person to answer an irrelevant question." It was the instructor's first time meeting such a polite troublemaker. He was silent for a while. "I heard that your show changed to my show at the last minute because of you?" Chapter 562. Bei Yunj's eyebrows moved unconsciously and she looked at someone else for an answer. In the end, the two guests on the left and right lowered their heads, not daring to look at Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj was speechless. Hence, when the scene fell into silence, Bei Yunj did not speak. "You were the one who said that you would be punished later, right?" Bei Yunj looked up with her beautiful eyes, as if she was not afraid of being punished. "That little girl was about to faint just now." "It's not that I don't care." The instructor thought for a moment and said, "You can either run 10 laps as punishment, or you can choose someone from the shooting range over there and have a better result than him within 10 shots. If you want to choose the second option, then if you succeed, this matter will be over. If you fail, you will be punished to run 20 laps. Some of Qin Lang's true fans had already successfully entered the role of sister-in-law. I'm too speechless. Pei Pei, a girl, was originally here to travel, but the production team sent her to the war zone. Hearing the instructor's words, everyone gasped. Wasn't this heartless enough? It's fine if you're sticking to the main character, but you're even sticking to his sister? I'm speechless. Pei Pei, listen to sister-in-law. Let's lower our heads first and run less if we can. Look at her thin arms and legs. She wants to run 20 laps? Is the team unwilling to be human? Did the person upstairs forget that it was because Bei Yunj lost the Azura card that they rushed to change the map in the middle of the night? Bei Yunj glanced at the shooting range not far away and licked her red lips. I guarantee that Bei Yunj will definitely go to the shooting range. I've already predicted the scene where the troublemaker will be defeated. This was also within the instructor's expectations. Reporting, if she makes a mistake, I'm willing to run double. In the next moment, everyone saw Bei Yunj walking towards the shooting range. Wasn't double the 20 laps equivalent to 40 laps? Qin Yu's fans' hearts ached visibly in the comments. At this moment, Qin Yu spoke. It was not easy to break the rules of the competition, so he could only use this method now. If she entered society with such a personality, she would suffer sooner or later. At this time, the instructor glanced at Qin Yu. This is also a form of training for her. They really wanted to go easy on the team flower. However, if he lost on purpose, the outcome would definitely be tragic. When Bei Yunj walked towards the shooting range, she was followed by another supervising instructor. From afar, he could hear the discussion at the shooting range. It seemed like the team bell was going to pick someone to compete with in shooting. Bei Yunj glanced at the 20 people and his eyes fell on a familiar face. I'll take him. Bei Yunj, pick a person to compete with. Another instructor who seemed to be easier to talk to said with a smile. They. He opened his mouth, but the word was spoken so softly that it couldn't be heard. The person who was chosen was Ai Hui, whom he had met before. Bei Yunj pointed at one and went to the shooting range to get a gun. The person who had been chosen was completely stunned. He subconsciously looked at Bei Yunj. She had chosen the person who was the best at shooting. Among this group of people, only Ai Hui's ability was not bad and he was sent out to be Ji Qing's subordinate. Ji Qing's subordinate. Are you sure you want to pick him? The instructor frowned. He did not expect Bei Yunj to be so unlucky. Can't I? Bei Yunj glanced at him. Sure. The instructor thought for a moment. Since they were going to lose anyway, it didn't matter if it was worse. P.S. I'll post it after I finish writing. Babies, remember the monthly votes. Chapter 563. Just as a Hui was about to digest that Bei Yunj was here to film a variety show. He was about to pretend that he did not know Bei Yunj to avoid causing trouble for Bei Yunj when he heard her say, "You're not done yet? Are you so troublesome in the war zone?" Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows unconsciously. In her previous life, when she was kidnapped by terrorists when she was 12 years old, if she had met this person instead of that person, she would have been reborn more than 10 years earlier. A Hui was speechless. It was normal for him to hate this person. I won't let you do it. A Hui thought for a moment and chuckled. You're definitely going to run 20 rounds. I thought that Bei Yunj chose an old friend, but it turns out that she chose an enemy? I can't describe Bei Yunj's courage anymore. Can't she treat herself better? To be honest, I can feel this little brother's malice even through the screen. She deserves it. If it wasn't for her, how could she have changed the map? I'm speechless that she implicated the other guests. The fans above are probably haters. Are Qin Yojiao's true fans? She won with her own ability, so how can you blame her? Are you blaming her for being too strong? The person above is dying of laughter. Whether she's strong or not depends on whether she can win this round. Miss Pei, sorry for the offense. A Hui had long been unhappy with Ji Qing's attitude towards Bei Yunj. When he returned, Ji Qing suspended him for 2 months because of Bei Yunj. If he didn't take revenge today, when would he let this elder young miss know what the world was like? With this thought in mind, A Hui had already started to practice seriously. He followed the speed set by the district and shot 10 shots in a row. His results were not bad. 93. It was considered a normal performance. When the other team members saw this result, they could not help but whistle. Ranwen. The instructor also had a proud look on his face. This was the member with the best results in their team. Miss Pei, although I admire you in other aspects, I hope that this will be a growth in your life. A Hui thought for a moment. In front of the camera, he could not make things too difficult for Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj only smiled when she heard this. After loading the gun, she looked at the bull's eye in the distance. Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes narrowed. After she aimed, she heard a gunshot. As soon as the noise stopped, only the people in the live stream who saw the camera suddenly curled up their lips. Even the tips of their eyes were curved. Her bright eyes were filled with high spirits and willful brashness. Gunshots rang out continuously. The viewers in the live broadcast room could not see Bei Yunj's real score. However, this smooth and flowing fighting style and aura was definitely an A-level explosion. This speed was even faster than that delicate little brother from before. Shortly after. Before Bei Yunj's anti-fans could say anything, they heard the cameraman next door curse. Everyone watching the live stream? What did he see? Program team, what are you guys doing? I want to see results. What about the results? Not long after. Everyone's cell phones followed the cameraman's camera and focused on Bei Yunj's results. 99. In an instant. Even the live stream was silent. For some reason, they felt their scalps go numb. Is this real? I'm a little rusty. She muttered to herself. When she was shooting just now, the skin between her thumb and index finger hurt. Chapter 564. Bei Yunj frowned unconsciously. In the eyes of everyone, it was because the results were not satisfactory enough. At this moment, the team members who had just finished training on the field froze when they saw this scene. What did they miss just now? Brother Hui was 93, and this Team Flower was 99? Was this world a fantasy, or were they dreaming? Do you mind if I try again? Bei Yunj ignored the others and changed to another gun to test the feel of it. Then he did it again. This time, he tried 15 shots in a row. The screen showed that it was 150 again. Seeing that the touch was back, Bei Yunj's lips curled up. The team members behind were completely petrified. What the hell? At this speed, they almost thought that they were shooting blindly, but in the end, they all hit 10 points. At this moment, looking at Bei Yunj's results, the instructor suddenly had the illusion that he should retire. Not long after, the instructor found his voice. You've learned it before? Bei Yunj did not deny it. Who learned it from? The instructor was already having a headache. Who was so capable to teach a young girl who was not even 20 years old to such a level? You won't see her. Her surname is Sure. Bei Yunj smiled. It was a female officer who was 5 years older than Bei Yunj in his previous life. At that time, she was only 17 or 18 years old and was already on an A-level mission. Ever since Bei Yunj's accident when he was 12 years old, she would take over Bei Yunj every summer vacation. In the eyes of others, one was the focus of scientific research, and the other was an unprecedented god-level figure in the war zone. However, ever since he was taken over by that person, Bei Yunj had indeed never lost a fight. In addition, when the people in the outside world who were ready to make a move knew that the person who took over the scientific research field was that person from the Sure family, they were so afraid that they gave up. Monsai Literature Network. At this moment, everyone automatically understood this to mean that he might not be from a country. Are you considering coming here to develop in the future? The instructor was silent for a moment and suddenly asked tentatively. Not considering. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, he asked slowly, Can I return to the team now? After watching Bei Yunj leave, the instructor immediately called his superior. It was not worth it to let go of such a seedling. Throughout the whole process, AI Hui stood rooted to the ground in a daze. 99? 150? So, not only does Bei Yunj know how to fight, but he also knows how to use guns? AI Hui suddenly felt his scalp go numb. He froze at the thought of his arrogant speech just now. But this time, I hope that it will also be a growth in your life. That's a live stream. Can you delete me? AI Hui turned his head expressionlessly and asked his teammate. His teammates looked at him with pity. Don't you know the prettiest girl? Don't you know that she's so good with guns? I always thought that she was an extremely arrogant young lady. AI Hui replied honestly. In the end, he was the one who became arrogant. Everyone, tragic, truly tragic. Why are you back? The instructor, who was in the middle of training, froze when he saw Bei Yunj walking back slowly. Oh, and so I came back. Bei Yunj said this very naturally. The bullet screen went crazy. I feel like I'm watching a police movie. Bei Yunj's marksmanship just now was so professional that I was scared. I'm a retired soldier. I'm also scared when I saw it. Chapter 565. Aw, I'm speechless. She was so good at shooting just now. Did Bei Yunj come to this show to embarrass herself? Why did Brother Yu only bring his sister out today? She's so outstanding. I love her so much. Like the instructor, the guests stared at Bei Yunj in a daze. The instructor couldn't help but ask, Who's the one who competed with you? His name is AI Hui. Bei Yunj said unhurriedly. When the instructor heard this, he froze. That was the best member of that team. How could he lose to Bei Yunj? Could it be that he went easy on her? But AI Hui knew the pros and cons. How could he do something that would get him punished in the war zone? Just as the instructor was about to speak, a phone call suddenly came in. After the instructor picked up the phone, he was shocked by what the other party said. After a long time, he slowly put down the phone. He looked at Bei Yunj with a complicated expression. Go to Building 7. Find someone to take you there. The instructor didn't say who it was, but Bei Yunj could sense that someone wanted to see her. However, it wasn't appropriate to mention this name on the variety show. So, a female team member took her to Building 7 in a special car. Along the way, she looked at her in disbelief, as if she was a national treasure. Bei Yunj, she might as well go there and stand in a military posture. However, Bei Yunj didn't expect that when she arrived at Building 7, she would almost be unable to come out because of her shooting results today. On the 6th floor of Building 7. I don't plan to enroll in the military academy. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched. She didn't expect to encounter such a situation on a variety show. No, you want to think about it again. Do you want to? The person who spoke was a middle-aged man who looked energetic. He had several stripes on his shoulders and looked like the manager of this area. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched as she sat under the air conditioner with a teacup in her hand. I have other important things to do. Is it more important than contributing to the country? The middle-aged man said confidently. Bei Yunj felt that if this man had changed his clothes, she would believe that he was a kidnapper. Bei Yunj said when he couldn't get through to her. How about this? I'll make a call. When that person comes over later, if you can convince him, I'll go and enroll in the first military academy. All right. When the middle-aged man heard this, he thought that Bei Yunj was going to call her parents, so he agreed with a hearty smile. He was the best at reasoning with parents. At this time, Bei Yunj listened to Zhong Shenglin's scolding as she made the call. All right, I'll wait for you here. Zhong Shenglin was so angry that he didn't even have time to take off his white coat. Don't be afraid. I'm going to settle the score with that bastard right now. This was too much. How long had it been since he signed Bei Yunj? Even the people in the theater of operations were trying to poach him? All right. Bei Yunj nodded. After the conversation, Bei Yunj hung up. How was it? What did your parents say? Bei Yunj paused for a moment and looked at him slowly. The corners of her lips curled up. He said that he will come and look for you. All right, it's easy as long as your parents are here. Old Master Ling smiled. The more he looked at Bei Yunj, the more he liked him. He even started to ask if Bei Yunj was engaged and if she would consider a matchmaking session. He still had a grandson with good potential. Bei Yunj was silent the entire time. However, about half an hour later, Zhong Shenglin arrived at the entrance of the war zone. Chapter 566. Elder Zhong? The guard outside saw Elder Zhong standing in an armed car with his hands behind his back. Behind him were more than 10 strong bodyguards in black. The guard was speechless. What was going on? Why aren't you opening the door? Zhong Shenglin glanced at him coldly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He felt that he was looking for someone to fight with. Compared to the output of martial arts, Zhong Shenglin definitely had no advantage in the war zone. However, the advanced systems and some of the new weapons in their district were all developed by Elder Zhong. The guard had no choice but to open the door. In any case, as the #1 computer scientist in the country, Elder Zhong would not do anything that would lower his status. That was what they thought. At this moment, Elder Zhong got out of the car expressionlessly and walked to Building 7 with more than 10 bodyguards. The director team, who was recording the show and filming the guests, saw a familiar face pass by aggressively. There were more than 10 bodyguards behind him. The scene was inexplicably strange. The director team was speechless. That was Mr. Zhong Shenglin, right? What was he doing here? Everyone had different thoughts, but they were very sensible and did not mention Zhong Shenglin. Only the people in the livestream did not know that a scientific researcher had passed by behind the camera. What do you think of this school? Old Master Lang had already introduced the school to Bei Yunj very naturally, but at this moment, the people outside the door could not stop him. Zhong Shenglin had already kicked the door open and entered. Zhong Shenglin, what are you doing? This was the first time Old Master Lang saw Zhong Shenglin like this. Wasn't he too angry? Zhong Shenglin sneered. Why was this person asking him? I love Chinese network. Shouldn't I be the one asking you what you're doing? With that, Zhong Shenglin walked in front of Old Master Leng and was suddenly stopped by Old Master Leng. He did not even see Bei Yunj. Old Master Leng said confidently, "This is my successor. Don't do anything rash." Zhong Shenglin's face darkened. He went up and pushed Old Master Leng. "Did I agree to what you said? Did Lan Jun agree?" Old Master Leng was caught off guard and sat on the sofa. He straightened his neck and looked at him. Did this person drink fake alcohol today? He actually dared to hit him. So, Old Master Leng looked at Zhong Shenglin's face and gradually understood who Zhong Shenglin was for. This was the first time he saw Old Master Leng. He almost wanted to fight with him on the spot. "Old Zhong, don't tell me you think you can take her away with just a dozen people?" Old Master Leng chuckled, looking down on him. "What was this place?" Old Master Leng heard Zhong Shenglin say gently, "Take out everything." Outside the door, more than 10 bodyguards in black opened the things. It was the high-level weapon that Old Master Leng had asked Zhong Shenglin for help to design. Old Master Leng suddenly had a bad feeling. However, as expected, Zhong Shenglin smiled gently. "If you don't let him go today, I'll throw these things down from the 6th floor. Don't even think about the Computing Institute developing anything for you for the rest of your life." Old Master Leng? Was Zhong Shenglin already so sincere that he wanted to fight with him? Chapter 567. Old Master Leng was most afraid of scientific researchers. Each of them was more stubborn than the other. Just as expected. Old Master Leng heard Zhong Shenglin say coldly, "Don't make it sound so easy for you to hurt me." Had he been watching some tragic drama recently? Then let's be reasonable, okay? Old Master Leng took a deep breath. He did not want to fight with Zhong Shenglin here either. He tried his best to make his voice sound more kind. "What about Yunj? She has the ability to do this. What can she do if you ask her to go to the Research Institute? Play games in the Computing Institute?" Bei Yunj glanced at Old Master Leng unconsciously. Zhong Shenglin was also in disbelief by Old Master Leng's shocking words. So this person did not know Ger at all and already wanted Bei Yunj to be his successor. Zhong Shenglin thought for a moment and glanced at Old Master Leng. Finally, he went to close the door. Zhong Shenglin said, "Old Leng, let me tell you the truth. Among the people who tried to steal my woman, you're the least qualified to fight with me." Old Master Leng was speechless. Why was Zhong Shenglin so arrogant recently? However, Zhong Shenglin felt that he was telling the truth. Nance had the Higgins family and Marcus was the director of a top computing institute. Even that Stephen from the medical institute was at least part of the academic circle. What about this Leng guy? Did he have to let a scientific research genius fight with him against a criminal gang? Did the scientific research field give people the illusion that there were many talents this year, making them think that scientific research geniuses were not important? What can she do with you? Can you give her the institute? Why can't I? Even if the door was closed, the people outside could hear the shouting conversation very clearly. The bodyguards and the guards looked at each other. 1717. So, were these two people all right? At this moment, Bei Yunj moved her eyebrows and said, "Old Master Leng, thank you for your kindness, but I really can't accept your kindness." "Why?" Old Master Leng could not believe it. After thinking for a while, Bei Yunj said honestly, "Because I can't take it." Old Master Leng, why did it sound so perfunctory? Forget it, let's lay our cards on the table. Anyway, Old Leng wants to know everything. Seeing that Bei Yunj didn't stop him, Zhong Shenglin asked straightforwardly, "Do you remember that your superior asked you to mobilize the elites in the theater of operations?" "I remember." However, when he regained his senses, he felt that Zhong Shenglin was being ridiculous and deliberately mystifying. What does this have to do with Yunj? Upon hearing this, Zhong Shenglin smiled. "It was said in the last meeting that we will pick out elites from the war zone for protection." He explained kindly, "She is." As soon as he finished speaking, Old Master Leng froze. It took him a while to react. He jerked his head up and looked at Bei Yunj in disbelief. Such a young girl? He thought that he was at least 40 or 50 years old. In the end, he was F***king 2 rounds younger? Wait a minute, that mathematics award is also hers? Old Master Lung suddenly felt his scalp turn numb. She was nominated for both the mathematics award and the computing award. So, Old Lung, if you poach her, how are you going to explain it to the higher-ups? Zhong Shenglin was smiling. He really wanted to beat someone up when he saw how happy he was. However, Zhong Shenglin was right. If the two of them fought for her, the higher-ups would definitely help Zhong Shenglin. Chapter 568. Old Master Lung's mood instantly became extremely complicated. At this moment, he could not help but ask, "Then why are you participating in the variety show?" Wasn't she afraid that her true identity would be exposed in the future and cause an accident? I came with someone. As soon as Bai Yunj finished speaking, Zhong Shenglin was stunned. You're participating in a variety show? Looking at the shocked expressions on their faces, her eyebrows twitched, but she did not say anything. She simply acquiesced. In the end, although Old Master Lung was very indignant, he could only help Bai Yunj hide her identity. He immediately sent someone to contact the production team and cut out all the shooting segments of Bai Yunj. Since they had already signed the contract for this variety show, they could only continue recording. So, the fans had just created a super topic for Bai Yunj when it suddenly disappeared. However, they could not attract any more attention. At this moment, Zhong Shenglin was also contacting his acquaintances to suppress the popularity of Bai Yunj. They had been in the industry for so many years, but this was the first time they had encountered such a thing? The super topic was gone. It was as if it had never existed. This made Bai Yunj's fans feel like they had seen a ghost. When Bai Yunj returned to the team, the instructor did not have time to react before he saw Old Master Lung walking over. His eyes widened and he immediately saluted Old Master Lung. Then where were they going to get the data? After that, the manager of the war zone was not someone to be trifled with. However, the director did not expect Old Master Lung to look for him to make a few requests. Old Master Lung nodded and walked directly to the director. You're the director, right? I'm the person in charge of this area. I want to talk to you about some private matters. Hearing this, the director naturally did not dare to refuse. The live broadcast of the shooting had to be deleted as soon as possible. Why? The director could not help but ask. Reduce Bai Yunj's scenes. Suppress all the popularity of Bai Yunj. Usually, when someone made this request to him, it was definitely to ban her. However, how could the higher-ups put in so much effort to ban a little girl? Old Master Lung smiled. I'm sorry, comrade. This is the arrangement of the higher-ups. For the rest of the work, I hope you can film her back and not show her face. When the director heard this, he also sensed that something was wrong. But she and Qin Yu are the most popular guests among us. The director murmured. The only possibility was that they wanted to protect Bai Yunj's privacy. However, the director was also very curious. What did Bai Yunj's privacy have that was worth Old Master Lung's protection? If this variety show failed again, his career would be completely ruined. How about this? Do it well first. If you have any difficulties, you can contact me. This time, he had spent a lot of money on this variety show. Some time ago, because of his family's accident, he had lost his family's wealth. After this matter was settled, after a few days, everyone realized that the instructor no longer made things difficult for Bai Yunj. Old Master Lung smiled and said, the national channel also has the idea of recording a variety show. We can also apply for you to do it. This made the netizens who had come to watch the variety show because of Bai Yunj unable to help but at the official account online to ask. Bai Yunj's scenes were getting fewer and fewer with each episode. What was even more surprising was that most of the scenes were actually her back. Instead, they had changed their target. But in the end, a few seconds later, their messages were automatically blocked. The speed of this blocking was even faster than those capitalists suppressing the news. Chapter 569. This made some netizens feel that something was wrong. However, no matter who they gave feedback to, no one answered this question. Gradually, the popularity of Bae Yunja's group dropped and everyone's attention was on Chinyu. Almost no one reacted. Occasionally, Bae Yunj would not have any scenes in the afternoon. Bae Yunj was drinking tea with old Master Leng in Building 7. After interacting with her for a few days, old Master Leng felt that Bae Yunj was too compatible with his personality. If Zhong Shenglin had not kept a close eye on her, he really wanted to try poaching her. "Girl, why do you have a call every afternoon?" Old Master Leng looked at her mischievously. Bae Yunj smiled. "It's my older brother." Hearing this, old Master Leng thought that he was her biological brother and did not ask further. However, on the last day, at the program banquet arranged by the production team, old Master Leng happened to see a familiar figure when he passed by. It was Huashidu. "Shidu, why are you here?" Old Master Leng looked at him in surprise and immediately walked over. "To pick someone up." Huashidu nodded slightly at old Master Leng and glanced at his watch. He was still standing casually by the car. In the eyes of others, the man was wearing an exquisite handmade white shirt. The hem of his shirt was loosely tucked, making his figure look perfect. Under his suit pants, his slender and straight legs were excessively ascetic. His pale-colored eyes were filled with gentleness, but he gave off a feeling that he was 1,000 miles away. No one dared to go forward and talk to him. "Elder." In old Master Leng's impression, other than his elders, Huashidu did not receive such treatment from the other juniors. "No, he's a child." Huashidu smirked, his eyes smiling carelessly. "He's quite hard to coax." For some reason, Huashidu felt that there was something wrong with this child's attitude recently. However, old Master Leng raised an eyebrow in surprise. This was his first time hearing him say this. "Shidu, do you have a girlfriend?" Huashidu caressed the silver lighter with his fingertips, a dark smile in his eyes as he said casually, "Not yet." This time, some fans were even selected to watch the ending banquet held by the director. Qin Yojiao and the rest were already doing their makeup backstage. Only Bae Yunj did not show up, nor did she have any intention of going on stage. When the director saw this, he turned a blind eye to it. Anyway, he couldn't leave any footage. When the time came, Bae Yunj would just have to participate in a simple segment to fool her. So, as soon as she arrived at the banquet, she heard the war zone personnel greeting each other. "Team Flower, why didn't you perform?" This form of address made Bae Yunja's eyes twitch unconsciously. She said lazily, "I'm not performing." Hearing this, the war zone personnel who originally wanted to watch Bae Yunja's performance were a little disappointed. The next moment, a handsome and delicate boy of the same age was pushed in front of her. They were also from the theater of operations. "Bae Yunj, can I talk to you in private?" The boy held his trousers nervously, but he didn't notice that someone was watching them not far away. Bae Yunj looked at the time and did not refuse. She followed him to a quieter place. However, the boy suddenly stammered. "Bae Yunj, I like you." After his confession, the boy's face turned red and he looked very innocent. Bae Yunj narrowed her eyes calmly. "I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you accept it or not. I just want a chance to pursue you." Chapter 570. Bae Yunja's eyebrows twitched. However, before she could say anything else, a familiar voice came from behind her. "Yun Yun." The moment Bae Yunj turned around, she saw the man walking towards her with his long legs. At this moment, Bae Yunj felt an inexplicable sense of guilt. She wondered if this man was going to question her about her puppy love the moment he opened his mouth. After all, this man had always treated her like a child. Suddenly, the man's deep and lazy voice sounded slowly. "Is this a friend?" Bae Yunj raised her eyebrows slightly and glanced at Huashidu in surprise. Not long after, her gaze stopped on the boy who looked uneasy. She responded faintly, not intending to make the situation even more awkward. The moment he saw this man, he felt a sense of danger. "This is my brother." However, the boy seemed to have made up his mind and asked tentatively, "Who is this gentleman?" "So it's my brother." However, The boy with slow EQ did not notice Huashidu's expression at all. Instead, he bowed respectfully to Huashidu and said seriously, "Hello, brother." Bei Yunj did not think too much about it and said casually. When the man heard this, his pale-colored eyes darkened. He looked straight at Bei Yunj and subconsciously licked the tip of his teeth. He took a deep breath and chuckled softly. The man's eyes were dark and seemed to be filled with unfathomable danger. Then he let out a faint snort. "Are you still throwing a tantrum with your brother?" Bei Yunj was speechless. Looking at this situation, she felt that the atmosphere was strange. What kind of conflict could these two have? Just as the boy was thinking, Huashidu chuckled again. His casual and low voice was blatantly seductive. "Is Yun Yun so unhappy because brother found a female companion last time?" Huashidu turned around and looked at Bei Yunj as if there were only the two of them in this scene. However, these words also aroused the boy's curiosity. Although Bei Yunj looked a little cold, he did not seem to have seen her quarrel with anyone before. Was this a brother complex? However, she didn't feel this way when she interacted with Qin Yu before. The boy? He looked at Bei Yunj in disbelief. Apart from feeling that this sentence was strange, he also didn't expect Bei Yunj to be so possessive of his brother. "Don't be unhappy. For Yun Yun's sake, I won't find a girlfriend in the future." Huashidu gently pinched Bei Yunj's cheek. When he let go, his fingers rubbed against it intimately. This made Bei Yunj unconsciously feel a trace of numbness in her heart. It was as if the residual warmth on her cheeks had a kind of burning ambiguity. "What are you talking about?" Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched. Did he not know whether his female companion was a woman or not? Now it was for her. Bei Yunj could not help but look at Huashidu, wanting to pinch his face. However, Bei Yunj, who had just regained her senses, fell silent. This man made it sound so nice. She was the one who said that she didn't want to fall in love for 5 to 6 years. How could it be so thick? "Yun Yunj, aren't you going to let your brother find a girlfriend?" A strange feeling rose in the boy's heart. He suddenly thought of some kind of orthopedic relationship and his scalp turned numb unconsciously. However, when he looked up, he saw the man's handsome and dignified eyes. His figure was tall like jade. Standing beside the bright and beautiful girl, their auras were inexplicably compatible. Chapter 571. Bei Yunj. At this moment, Bei Yunj felt that Huashidu was extremely childish. She would only be happy if he smeared her name. However, in the eyes of the boy, Bei Yunj's silence was a tacit agreement. This was no longer a problem of brother complex. Then, just as the boy mustered up his courage and wanted to save the girl who had a sick brother complex, he suddenly saw Huashidu lift Bei Yunj's chin again. "Yun Yun, open your mouth and take a look." The man's fingers caressed the lower edge of her delicate lips gently and ambiguously. "Brother, check if you've eaten anything these few days." Bei Yunj knew that Huashidu was talking about her teeth, so she did not feel burdened and opened her mouth gently. However, from this angle, Huashidu could not see her teeth clearly. The corners of his lips curled up, and his gaze swept over the crowd calmly and leisurely. And from this angle, in the eyes of the boy, they looked like a couple kissing. This made the boy's mind explode. He widened his eyes and looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. However, his gaze landed on the man's dark eyes and the hand that was holding the little girl's chin. He did not hide his possessiveness towards this little girl. The boy reacted and his face was a little pale as he stared blankly at the scene in front of him. Not long after, Bei Yunj and Huashidu walked backstage to prepare for the livestream banquet. She glanced at the lounge with her name on it, pushed the door open and walked in. "Brother, why are you here today?" Bei Yunj glanced at him. If she did not know that Huashidu often worked overtime, she would have thought that he had nothing to do. "To pick you up." Huashidu glanced at the lounge. It was not very good. In fact, from what he knew, it was slightly simple and the space was not big. "I thought that Big Brother was here to spread rumors," said 101 Chinese. Bei Yunj laughed lazily. She glanced at the man standing by the door and knew that this man might be a little obsessed with cleanliness and felt that this place was not very good. Thinking of this, Bei Yunj walked towards Hwashidu. "Are you uncomfortable here?" Hearing this, a dark look flashed across Hwashidu's eyes when he heard the sound of footsteps. He then glanced at the open door casually. He looked at the little girl in front of him who didn't have any good ideas. Suddenly, the corner of his lips curled up. His lazy voice dragged out, as if he was deliberately teasing people's eardrums. "No, I won't. With Yun Yun around, I feel comfortable." Bei Yunj, why did everything this man said sound so lustful? At the thought of this, Bei Yunj looked up and saw the man standing lazily by the wall. His handsome and noble eyes were a little cynical, and her heart itched. Thus, the thoughts of the past 10 minutes appeared in his mind again. Suddenly, before he could react, the beautiful girl in front of him pressed him against the wall and boldly reached out to ravage the man's excessively handsome face. At the same time, the man who had confessed to Bei Yunj happened to see the girl he liked pushing the man he had just seen into the corner of the room when he opened the door. At this moment, the man's expression changed when he saw this scene through the crack of the door. Were they really in such a relationship? However, just as the man was still trying to deceive himself, he heard the man's deep and magnetic voice in the room. It was ambiguous and hoarse, and it made his ears burn. "Yun, don't touch me." In an instant, the man was completely petrified. Chapter 572. He was stunned for a long time. Then he heard that familiar voice from inside. "Haven't you touched me?" The girl's clear voice sounded naturally, but the amount of information in her words was shocking. The boy's face could not be any stiffer. So, they had been in such a relationship for a long time? Suddenly, he felt that this world was so sinful. Not long after, he gritted his teeth. He was still unwilling to accept this. He made up his mind to look inside and see more clearly. But when he pushed the door open a little more, suddenly, the man, who was leaning lazily against the wall with a seductive gaze, grabbed Bei Yunj's slender and fair wrists. This stunned Bei Yunj. But before she could regain her senses, the man suddenly curled his thin lips. His Adam's apple rolled sexily as he let out a low laugh. Then, the man suddenly held her hand and placed it on his neck. With a spin, Bei Yunj was pressed against the corner of the wall. "Brother!" Before Bei Yunj could say anything, the man suddenly hooked his arm around her waist and bent down. His warm breath sprayed beside her ear. A warm sensation gently pressed against her ear again. Bei Yunj trembled. Her thoughts instantly went blank as if she had been electrocuted. The boy who had just peeked in happened to see this scene. His entire body turned cold from the blow. He watched as the man lowered his head and did something to the girl's neck. "You!" The boy's pupils constricted. Just as he was about to interrupt, Hwashidu suddenly closed the door without raising his head. This made the boy's expression change again and again. So, this man had discovered him long ago and deliberately let him see this scene. When the boy regained his senses, he also thought of Hwashidu's attitude towards him. He seemed to have been hostile from the beginning. Colorful Chinese until the boy left. Bei Yunj's heartbeat returned to normal, but the strange emotions that rose in her heart did not dissipate. Did Hwashidu kiss her just now? Although this action was very sudden, Bei Yunj didn't feel any disgust. Instead, she didn't dislike this man's closeness. However, Bei Yunj suddenly felt a little embarrassed when she saw the man's gaze and the way he couldn't hide his smile. "Hwashidu." The man answered naturally, "You don't seem to feel guilty at all." Bei Yunj looked at him and said, it was as if he had never done such a thing. Hwashidu tried his best to suppress the corners of his lips and cooperate with the young lady. Bei Yunj looked at the man in front of her and said lazily, "I feel quite guilty." Why couldn't she tell? So why did he suddenly do that just now? Bei Yunj's mind raced as she looked at the bastard's face. She originally wanted to say some harsh words, but she changed her mind. "Control yourself." When Hwashidu heard this, the corners of his lips unconsciously curled up. He quickly lowered his head. Bei Yunj originally thought that Hoshidu had suddenly realized that there was something wrong with his behavior. However, before she could speak, she suddenly heard the man's low and hoarse chuckle. Bei Yunj, all right, brother, control yourself. Yun Yun will also understand, brother. The man's low and magnetic voice carried a teasing smile. It was extremely sexy. Chapter 573. Seeing the girl almost running away, the man chuckled hoarsely and suppressed the desire that had arisen inadvertently. Just now, he almost could not help but continue. However, Bei Yunj did not notice the dark look in the man's eyes. On the way, suddenly, a voice sounded in surprise. Master Pei? Master Pei, what's wrong? You seem to be blushing. Hua Sun happened to meet Bei Yunj and sized her up in disbelief. Bei Yunj hummed indifferently, still thinking about her own matters. But in the next second, Hua Sun was even more curious and quickened his steps to follow behind Bei Yunj. Master Pei, what's wrong? Seeing that Hua Sun was about to start nagging, Bei Yunj looked at him with a faint smile. What? You're not done, are you? Hua Sun immediately shut up and did not dare to follow her. He only stared fixedly at the person leaving in front of him. However, Qin Yojiao, who happened to see this scene, had a dark glint in her eyes as she walked towards Hua Sun. Did Yunj say something to you just now? Her tone seems to be quite bad when she talks to you. Hasn't she always been like this? Hua Sun glanced at her and did not notice anything strange. Qin Yojiao's eyes darkened and she said with a smile. That's true. She's like this. She doesn't seem to take anyone seriously. At this moment, Qin Yojiao looked up and saw Hua Sun still staring at Bei Yunj's back. She could not help calling out, Hua Sun. Suddenly, after Hua Sun regained his senses, he could not help sighing. How arrogant! You're a man. In an instant, Qin Yojiao's expression darkened. Seeing Hua Sun turn to look at her, she had no choice but to force an ugly smile, but her fists were clenched tightly. This trash even said that he would stand up for her back then. In the end, ever since Bei Yunj snatched his money, Hua Sun had been trying to build a good relationship with Bei Yunj. There were many people at the banquet. The instructor, who had always been cold to them, also smiled happily. This made the others feel that the instructor was really happy to send them off today. The guests who participated in the variety show also felt that they had finally endured this hellish training and could perform well at the banquet. Hence, at the closing banquet, the performances of the guests were more eye-catching than the other. Especially after the director borrowed a very good piano, the audience quieted down and listened to her play seriously. Until Qin Yojiao's performance ended, the comments section was filled with comments. What a fairy, Qin Yojiao. When she plays the piano, her temperament is too good. Yu Jiao is so pretty. That was the best performance of the night. I like it. I have to say, Qin Yojiao's performance was very good from beginning to end. Even the instructor said that Qin Yojiao was very hardworking. Unlike a certain someone, the instructor didn't even care about her anymore. However, seeing so many comments praising Qin Yojiao, some people were not so happy. F***ck, a certain fan is too good at bragging, right? When Bei Yunj was shooting, why was a certain fan as quiet as a chicken? Speaking of which, it's really strange. There's really a problem with Bei Yunj's scenes after that? Best of the night? Brother, you hasn't even started performing and you're already bragging? F***ck, why are people still arguing? Look at the man in the white shirt in the second row. He's so handsome. Is he really not an artiste? Chapter 574. Hearing this, many people furrowed their eyebrows. Not long after, some netizens who felt that it was ridiculous laughed mockingly. They had just typed a line of words and had yet to send it out. Suddenly, a handsome and noble eyebrows flashed across the screen. A few seconds later, someone in the comments section was about to go crazy. Oh, who is this young man? He's too handsome. Whoa, Sister Chiochio, give me a detailed information. I suddenly want to chase after celebrities. Another godlike face? Does the production team have so much funding? Did they spend money to hire him? Whoa, he's really good looking. I thought he was a tyrant in reality. After a long time, no one in the live stream could tell who the man who had flashed past the screen for only a second was. Some of the netizens, who were so anxious and curious, were about to scratch their ears and cheeks. Where did this man come from? In fact, in that second, even Hoshidu, who was sitting in the second row, did not even glance over. He only raised his eyebrows slightly. His lazy and carefree attitude was enough to leave a deep impression on others. It inexplicably stirred up one's hormones. However, after that second, no one saw Hoshidu for more than half an hour. At this moment, after Chinyu got off the stage, he quickly noticed Hoshidu and raised his eyebrows in surprise. Then he got his exclusive cameraman to stop filming and walked in front of Hoshidu. Master Du, why are you here? Chinyu sat beside Hoshidu and asked curiously. To watch your performance. Hoshidu said slowly. Hearing this, Chinyu was silent for a long time before he regained his senses. To watch our performance? Chinyu felt that it was very suspicious. Then he could not help but look at Bei Yunj, who was in the first row. Looking at the distance between the two of them, he seemed to understand something. Don't tell me you two had a fight? Chinyu's tone was a little gloating. This made Hoshidu glance at him carelessly with his pale-colored eyes. After hearing Hoshidu admit it, Chinyu's vanity was inexplicably satisfied. Is that so? Actually, you might not know this, but too many things have happened between Gur and me during this period of time. I keep feeling that Gur and I have become much closer. Chinyu sighed. Hoshidu did not intend to expose him either. He only looked at Bei Yunj's back without hiding it. About 5 minutes later, Chinyu suddenly placed his hand on Hoshidu's shoulder. This action made Hoshidu's eyes darken unconsciously and he glanced at Chinyu leisurely. However, at the thought of Chinyu's identity, she had to get along with him in the future, so she didn't say much to him. Brothers, maybe not real brothers. That's how it is. How about this? I'll give you some personal space later, so you can perform well. Chinyu's tone was filled with pride. Hoshidu's eyes landed on Chinyu. He chuckled and replied lazily, sure. Good luck. Chinyu patted Hoshidu's shoulder encouragingly. He had no idea how Hoshidu had been alone with his Gukra an hour ago. Master Pei? Master Pei, are you ready? Hwasun suddenly asked eagerly. Ready for what? Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow and glanced at him. We have a live event. Have you forgotten? Chapter 575. Hearing this, Bei Yunj looked away and continued to fight with Chu Zhixing and the rest. I didn't sign up. Hwasun was speechless. Look at the program list. Hearing this, Bei Yunj finally noticed that everyone else had a program list in their hands. After regaining her senses, Bei Yunj realized that she might be in the lounge. Bei Yunj was speechless. At this moment, seeing that Bei Yunj was silent, the corners of Hwasun's mouth twitched and he handed the program list to Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj glanced at it and saw the last column. Question and answer segment. Hosts, Bei Yunj, Hwasun. Bei Yunj was speechless. Seeing Bei Yunj and Hwasun go on stage, Yunhua happened to walk back and sat beside Chinyo Jiao. Where did you go just now? Chinyo Jiao asked. Yunhua laughed out loud. Her eyes swept past Bei Yunj, who was in front of her, and she said meaningfully, isn't it about to end? Since you're here, you should do something else. With that said, a dark look flashed past Chinyo Jiao's eyes. She could guess what Yunhua had gone to do just now. The corners of her lips curled up. Sit down. Let's continue watching the show. The two of them waited for the show to start. Hwasun stood in front and received the questions written on the notes by the audience. On Bei Yunj's side, because of the inexplicable pressure, no one dared to give it to her. Why isn't anyone giving it to me? Bei Yunj asked unconsciously. Hwasun was speechless. Who would dare to give it to you when you have an "don't touch me" expression? The people below the stage could not hear what Bae Yunj and Hwa Sun were talking about, but seeing the two of them looking at each other in silence, they felt inexplicably happy. Haha, why do I like Bae Yunj and Hwa Sun so much? Don't say, Hwa Sun is really good at variety shows. Although Master Pei has the aura of a big boss, when you're on camera with Hwa Sun, it feels like you're watching a comedy. Wooaj and Sun are a couple. However, although the comments kept flooding the comments, no one thought that someone would personally break their dream of a couple. On the stage, Pei Huashuan gave Bae Yunj 15 notes and kept 15 for herself. The two of them read the contents of the notes one after another. When the questions were asked, the guests would be invited to the stage to interact with each other. If someone asked him a question, he would answer it himself. However, when Hwa Sun saw the next few questions in his hand, he unconsciously frowned and a trace of coldness flashed across his eyes. This time, the audience members had all signed a contract, forbidding anyone from being on the stage. But he had at least 3 pieces of paper in his hand, all of which were related to Bae Yunj. Their questions were all extremely harsh. It was obvious that they were targeting Bae Yunj. Hwa Sun took a deep breath and put the notes behind him. He asked a few other questions first. When the other guests went on stage to speak, he told Bae Yunj about it. The purpose of these notes was obviously to embarrass Bae Yunj in public. Bae Yunj hid the coldness in her eyes as the corners of her lips curled up into a faint smile. She played with the remaining note in her hand. Yun Nua, who was below the stage, also noticed that Bae Yunj and Hwa Sun must be discussing how to solve this problem. She couldn't help but look smug. But who knew? After the guests went on stage and finished speaking, everyone realized that there was a sudden change in the way they interacted. Hwa Sun was going to randomly pick someone to go on stage and ask questions. When the audience heard this, they started to talk. Wasn't this depriving them of their rights? But then, just as someone was about to stand up and speak, the people in the second row suddenly stood up. P.S. Good night, continue tomorrow morning. Good girls, remember to vote. Chapter 576. This stunned Hwa Sun for a moment. When he saw the man's appearance clearly, he was even more stunned. Was this man the boyfriend of some guest? Hwa Sun had seen all kinds of people and could naturally tell that the man in front of him was not simple. He couldn't be someone's fan, right? At this thought, Hwa Sun still maintained his composure. After letting the man come up, he probed, "Are you the fan?" Hoshidu glanced at Hwa Sun carelessly. His thin eyes were filled with elegance as he replied without looking away. Hearing this, Hwa Sun was shocked. A man of this level was king chasing idols. Who was so important? Hwa Sun could not help but size up Hoshidu. The handmade shirt on this person seemed to cost him a month's living expenses. Who are you chasing? Hwa Sun blurted out instinctively. On the other hand, the female fans present could not control their girlish hearts and excited screams. Why was Hwa Sun so troublesome? They had just fallen in love with a little brother and he wanted their house to collapse so quickly. It had to be said. The moment Hoshidu stood on the stage, his handsome eyes were filled with indifference and laziness. The sleeves of his white shirt were rolled up loosely under his elbows and his suit pants were too straight, making him look even more refined and dignified. Hoshidu's eyes swept past him and finally landed on Bae Yunj beside him. The corners of his lips curled up and his low voice sounded. "I'm chasing after the lady beside you." With that said, the fans present were about to explode as screams rose and fell. What kind of sweet public confession was this? Wasn't this too much? A large-scale dog-slaughtering scene. Bae Yunj was speechless. Below the stage, Qin Yu had yet to realize that something was wrong. He only felt that fans nowadays loved to imagine things. How was it possible for Ge and Master Du? It was impossible in their next life, let alone their next life. Qin Yu chuckled and continued watching the show with his arms crossed. However, on the other side, Yun Nua's expression changed when she saw that the person on stage was actually Hoshidu. Why would Master Du come to this place? Could it be? Was it really for Bae Yunj? Last time, at the Chin family's old residence, Yun Nua could tell that Hwashidu treated Bei Yunj differently. However, she had always thought that it was just a momentary feeling of novelty. After all, Bei Yunj did have the looks to back her up. Why would Master Du come all the way here? Moreover, he didn't mind coming up on stage and being discussed by others. Hwa Sun felt that the situation was getting out of hand. The bullet screen was also filled with Wei is dead. Suddenly, Hwashidu chuckled softly. His lazy voice was extremely seductive. Miss Pei, will you give me a chance to woo her? Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. And this time. The voices of the female fans were deafening and frightening. The comments were even more intense. F***ck, 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 why is this man so good at what I like? Is this little brother flirting with Master Pei? My Master Pei didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. Master Pei has tacitly agreed that they can get married now. Please get married on the spot, okay? The scene was very noisy. Bei Yunj's lips twitched unconsciously. She did not know what this man was trying to do. However, when Hwa Sun sensed the strange atmosphere, he immediately smiled. Chapter 577. Come. Then let's continue reading the questions on the note. Hwa Sun had just blurted out when he suddenly realized that he had messed up the matter. He had called someone up just now to ask them questions. But now, he was letting others read the note. Wasn't he making things worse? No, Hwa Sun was about to change his words when Hwashidu took the note. He looked down carelessly and opened the note with his slender and well-defined hands. However, after seeing the contents, there was a deep coldness in his eyes, but the audience below the stage did not notice it. Hwashidu slowly folded the note again. His thin eyelids were half lifted and his gaze landed on Bei Yunj. Suddenly, the man's thin red lips curled up. I have a question for our Miss Pei. Before anyone could react, everyone saw the man staring straight at the bright and beautiful girl in front of him and chuckling softly. His magnetic voice was light and flirtatious. What type of boy do you like? Do you like brother? As soon as he finished speaking, almost all the girls who were chasing after celebrities could not help but scream excitedly. They could not control their young hearts that were about to jump out. F***ck, brother is so flirtatious. This is the first time I've seen such a good man. Sob, is he a domineering CEO who walked out of the movie? Is there a fanfic? I want to chase after him. Our Master Pei is dumbfounded. She's too cute standing there looking at little brother. Bei Yunj suppressed the inexplicable beating of her heart and glanced at the man in front of her, who still had a natural expression. She suddenly smiled. Brother, I don't fall in love early. With that said, however, the sense of a couple did not decrease. Instead, it increased. Brother, Master Pei means to get married after high school. The president of Chin Yu's fan club was already shouting at the top of his lungs. Everyone on the scene heard it loud and clear. Bei Yunj was speechless. Chin Yu was even more confused and his handsome face did not look too good. Which eye of hers could tell that her girl liked Master Du? Hwashidu chuckled and did not speak. He only gestured to her with his eyes. It was as if he was saying, so you want to get married? Bei Yunj, wasn't this dog man getting more and more overboard? At this moment, below the stage, Chin Yu finally felt a sense of danger. He felt that something was wrong and immediately went to find the director. Hurry up and let Hwa Sun continue. My sister is only in her second year of high school. What are you guys doing? It was the director's first time seeing Chin Yu's expression darken. He immediately used the walkie-talkie to speak to Hwa Sun. Hwa Sun changed the topic. However, the interaction between Bei Yunj and the mysterious man was still unstoppable and became a hot topic. However, it only took about 20 minutes to completely suppress it. Usually, even if the news was suppressed, there would still be big accounts that were not afraid of death. But now, as long as it was related to Bae Yunj, it was as if the higher-ups had issued some kind of order and deleted it very quickly. The trending searches disappeared. Qin Yu also felt slightly uneasy, afraid that Huashidu would really fall in love with his Ge. Huashidu was outstanding and even incomparable to his peers. But how old was his Ge? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.